Oh my god, don't even remind me. I have
I'm gonna
so much
fucking
work to
slap
do this
you,
week
dude.
for Game
Don't
of the Year stuff.
fucking...
I finally realized I'm like, oh yeah, Game of the Year's. Oh my god, it's September. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, patrons, if you
But
really
the thing
want
I was
to
actually
flip a
going
switch
to
on
talk
us,
about...
just say Game of the Year. And
yeah.
Yeah.
Hiss!
Fucking, I hate you. The thing I was actually going to talk about was Linkin Park's new song.
I was wondering
Oh,
if that's what you were
fuck.
going to go about.
Oh.
I haven't
The
heard it.
fastest milkshake duck in history, dude.
Okay, go ahead. Tell me what the milkshake duck is.
So
I know what it is.
Yeah. So for anyone who hasn't seen, the surviving members of Linkin Park did a recording of some song months and months and months ago with the now new singer of Linkin Park. I don't remember what her name is. I'm not going to remember it because she sucks.
Sarah something. I missed what you said because she's what?
She sucks. Like as a person. I actually like her performances of Linkin Park stuff. I think she takes a cool approach to Chester's performances and kind of keeps the spirit of the song but makes it her own in a way that I think is really cool and interesting. Nearly immediately, it was found out that not only is she a Scientologist, which is not great, to like sort of put a spin on it, then she was also like a supporter of Danny Masterson in his blank trial. I don't want to say that word. Yeah.
Immediately there was an apology and an explanation given.
Mm-hmm.
She showed up to the first day. She didn't show up any other days because
she showed up as an observer for the first thing.
Now I'm not defending.
No,
the
I mean those are the facts
day.
of it. Yeah. I still think it's pretty gross.
Well, it is.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, you can believe a friend is innocent until they're literally proven not innocent, and that becomes a problem.
And also, I think their new single is really boring.
It sounds like Sum 41. I was listening to it and I was like, this just makes me think of Sum 41.
It literally sounds like every other band that was trying to copy Linkin Park at the time. Like, it's the most boring, like, radio nu metal rock thing you can put out. Like, look, I'm a big fan of Nine Inch Nails, and so I'm not throwing stones because there's some stuff he's put out that is not great. And I will defend a lot of his stuff. Everybody has that band where it's like, all right, maybe it's not for everybody, maybe it's only fans that love it. If you're enjoying the single and the inevitable new album, like, Godspeed to you. But to me, the combination of the like milkshake duck, and the half-hearted apology, and then just like pooping out this new single, which is just boring. I'm like, okay, this is not something I need to worry about anymore.
Yeah.
I'll say, and my biggest problem has always been if bandmates leave, just go under a different name. Like, that's always been my problem with the old rock of like Aerosmith, STP, other things. Where it's like you're swapping up band names, you don't even have the original band members anymore.
AC/DC is like the only exception to this rule because they found the only other dude on the planet that sounds exactly the same.
Yeah. And so I was kind of just sitting here thinking, it's like when I had first seen everything pop off this week, it was like, do you think it would have been better if they had just come out and said, hey, we have a new band now. This is our lead. These are the people from the original Linkin Park, but we now have a lead singer and we're going by whatever.
Well, the drummer is no longer, their former drummer is no longer drumming with them. Their lead guitarist doesn't want to go on tour anymore, so he's not going to be there.
I didn't know
and
about either
they
one
have
of
a
those.
They have a new front person as well.
Yeah.
So like, become a supergroup. Name yourself something new.
Yeah, it's like you have one original band member then, so why are you being called Linkin Park?
I mean, it's money at the end of the day.
And I understand capital-wise, the IP's
already
there.
You understand why they do it.
People, but at this point, it's like you're not doing anything great is kind of the problem.
Right.
So it especially in this instance, it especially doesn't help when, and no offense to the Linkin Park members or the other example I will give here.
Mm-hmm.
When your band is known for the particular skills of one particular member, and that member is no longer in the band, that's when the problems arise.
For sure.
Chester Bennington is one of a kind. You will never, ever, 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 ever be able to replace what he could do on that microphone and the way he delivered your songs. They are impeccably his forever.
Yeah, whether you like Linkin Park or not, he had a unique style and singing voice and performance style.
Yeah, so like, I agree. You should just form a new group because Guns N' Roses were not the same when Slash left. Let me tell you that.
That's right. Yeah.
But whatever. I don't really care either. I wasn't planning on listening to any of the... Even before I started seeing all the stuff coming out about the new lead, I was just kind of like, okay, but that's not my Linkin Park. And I'm not poo-pooing it. It's like, if you like it, go for it.
Right.
I'm just not going to listen to it because I have my Linkin Park. I have my CDs.
Yeah.
This is literally what I grew up with.
Yeah, and like, if your favorite band gets a second chance, like... more power to you.
Be right back. We're in the bathroom.
Sure. Like, more power to you, but like, I'm also not the biggest fan of Linkin Park. Like, obviously I love the first two albums. Like, those are really great, and the rest of them I'm sort of like, yeah, those are fine. Those are okay.
But Linkin Park was in so many of those anime fan-made videos.
AMVs. 100%. In the End was like,
exactly.
It was in the end and
so much.
Let the Bodies Hit the Floor. Well, who was that?
Was that
Dropping?
Disturbed?
No, that wasn't Disturbed. Hold on. Bodies song. It was like Drowning Pool. There it is.
There we go. Yeah, Drowning Pool.
Drowning Pool.
Get it there eventually.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like it was those two that were just like, those were your two AMV songs.
I think AMV is what introduced me to a lot of different bands.
100%.
Surprisingly, because like I don't even remember. I'm pretty sure in the end through like a Sailor Moon video.
Or
I
like
think
a
it was
TVZ video. I feel like that was always the pairing.
I think that's how I found out about Linkin Park at some point.
Yep. I found out about Mindless Self-Indulgence the way that literally every one of their fans did, which is the AMV of the first Pokemon movie with their song called Bitches, and they basically like timed Pikachu slapping somebody to like the drum beats. It's just, and like, either you watch that and you're like, this is the worst song I've ever heard, or you watch it and you're like, this is the worst song I've ever heard, I need to hear more of it. And that second one was me.
They need to bring AMVs back. Or maybe they're still around and I just don't ever see them anymore.
So the hard part is, I went and looked for this a while ago because the question I had was, all right, AMVs were so huge in like the late 90s, early 2000s, but the problem was it was hard to distribute them because we didn't have storage space, we didn't have bandwidth, we didn't have speeds, like we didn't have anything.
And never mind every single copyright law being broken on every single one of them.
Right, and like now that we have better distribution methods, we have all this stuff, are AMVs coming back? Is nature healing? And the answer is...
Whoa.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're back.
Yes.
Welcome back to AMVs. Let the bodies hit the floor, man.
So, I've got some news for you regarding the AMV scene.
Uh-huh.
Something I discovered this week.
Mm-hmm.
It's expanded beyond the weeb community.
Yes.
Because there is now UFC AMVs.
Uh-huh. A lot of times they try to call them fan cams, and it's like, that's an AMV. This is like a real life AMV. But the problem with AMVs nowadays is you're breaking copyright for the music and for the images, and both, or like the video, both markets now really care about their copyrights. Like anime now really cares about their, obviously music has cared for a while, so it's a little bit, it's hard to just like toss that stuff on YouTube and be like, I made a new AMV, because it starts getting traction and they're like, yep, we're shutting it down, bye.
Hell, a bunch of like anime torrent sites just recently had to close shop because, from what my understanding, from what I had read, Crunchyroll sales were taking a hit, and so they just went on like a cease and desist spree.
All right, let's get started on Crunchyroll, because Crunchyroll bought a whole bunch of stuff, and then they shut everything down, like Right Stuff.
Yeah,
the website that's been around since '93 or something, like the beginning of the internet. Right Stuff was there to sell you anime. Crunchyroll bought it and then nearly immediately shut it down, and everyone's like, cool, so like, what about my pre-orders and stuff? And like, oh, we're not doing those either. Bye. And like, they shut down one of the biggest, that'd be like IGN getting shut down out of nowhere. It's like, wait, that's, huh? What are you doing? Crunchyroll.
Hell, and it didn't help that Sony bought Crunchyroll, then they bought Funimation, then they shuttered Funimation for Crunchyroll. And like, a whole bunch nobody is fucking happy about anything that's happening with anime in America right now.
And let's not remember, Crunchyroll started as a piracy site.
Yeah.
It started as a, like, any one of these websites that's like animevideos.xyz or whatever. Like, that's how Crunchyroll started. And now they're all like, well, you can't. Please, our licensed anime. It's like, sit down. Shut up.
Yeah, exactly.
Jesus.
It's like, oh, we're legitimate now. It's like, yeah, you weren't always. You were less legitimate more than you've been legitimate.
Yeah, like, but kind of be cool about it, man. Like, come on. Yeesh. Anywho. Before I have another soapbox to get on. All right, you guys ready to get started?
Yeah.
Sure.
All right, starting in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of That Video Game Podcast, aka TVGP. I'm your host, Boss, and joining me as always is Moonpeer.
Howdy.
And the Nymph.
Hello.
We got an action-packed episode this week, so let's just get a quick plug in here for patreon.com/E1M1.
The ones and numbers.
$5 tier, that's a recommended one. Gets you everything. Behind the scenes, early access. The Outcast this week was a real spicy one. That's the one where we're talking about all the stuff that's going on in our lives besides video games. This is a really... you want to listen to a good one. This one's really good, and last week's Game Price game show that just sort of popped up, that's a really good one to listen to. We've sort of got a good 1-2 punch here. You also get early access to We Roguelike It and Critical Misses. You get exclusive access to the Critical Misses production meeting, and you get getting choked up about the Wayward Sons here, which is the Supernatural TV show watchcast that Moon and
you will if you get to the end of season 2, which we're doing right now.
That's right.
Yep.
You can go get all of that over there. Patreon.com/E1M1.
Ones and numbers.
Also, quick programming note here that we have scooted the recording for Clickolding, which is our Game Club game, back 1 week. So we'll be recording that on the 28th of this month. It'll come out the following day, usually Saturday or Sunday or Monday of that week. So a little bit more time to play that around 45-minute game. Moon, what have you been playing this past week?
Go listen to the pre-show content for the nightmare hellscape that is my lack of time for playing video games. So I've only really got like 7 games to talk about here. I'm cheating a little bit. Bit. We'll start with the obvious enough one first and foremost. Stan's Pinball Collection. Specifically the Ripley's Believe It or Not table.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Boston, what do you remember about the achievements from the old games?
They are fiendishly nightmarish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Including getting the wizard mode on every table.
Oh, God, the wizard mode.
Yes.
Someone should stop that wizard.
For everybody who doesn't know me, I am bluntedly single-minded when it comes to doing 100% on something before I move on.
Okay.
Go check out my gamer score if you want a good example of that. I'm up to the wizard goals on Ripley's.
Okay.
So Ripley's Wizard, believe it or not, is harder than you think it is.
Oh boy.
Because you have to, complete all of the modes on the table, and to get every single super jackpot you can get, that kind of thing. So I put a lot of time into Ripley's Believe It or Not table this week. Because I know the Starship Troopers table is in this pack. I know I'm going to save that till last because I want the goodness. I want to save that sweet, sweet cheesecake till the end.
Yeah,
I don't know why I'm referring to a game filled with bugs about cheesecake, but fine.
Naturally.
So
you know what your pinball has evolved into now for me? Somebody sending me a picture at Costco for a Jurassic Park Stearns table for $5,000. Like, come on.
Yeah, dude. And the worst part is that table's really good too, because like to get the multi-ball really activated.
Cool. And I love Jurassic Park.
You can shoot the ball into the dinosaur's mouth, and then he shakes it around and lets go of it randomly, so it just goes into the board somewhere.
That's really good.
And then I saw the X-Men one that was posted on our Discord, and I'm like, that looks really brand good.
New literally their newest table. That's the newest of the new table, that one. And yeah, and that has a fully 3D like a physical sentinel that is on the table too. That you can do things to. So pinball is becoming Pinball FX, is what I'm saying when I say that.
I love it.
I would say it looks cool.
Like, it's absolutely ridiculous, and that's fine. If I have to hear Avoid Them Idols or The Head Nose or anything like that ever again, I might break something. I'm just saying. I am getting better at nudging, though. I will only nudge in. For those of you who have played pinball, do you ever nudge the table? Ever? In real life?
Not in real life, no.
Even in the games, I don't. I think I do it by accident most times than not.
I'm getting better at doing it in the games. I never do it in real life because I always feel like I'm about to break something. I know I'm not. I know the tables are stronger than that.
Yeah, but that one time you go to do it when you need to do it, and the glass
and
shatters.
The leg snaps and the whole thing falls over. Yeah.
See, guys,
Stone Cold Steve Austin walks out.
That's right.
That was the wrestler joke for all of my wrestling fans.
Boo! Boo!
But see, the best thing is, you got that reference because he's pop culture enough for you to get that reference.
Yep.
But tapping it is it considered like an actual strategy?
Yeah,
I was gonna say, because I know they have the sensors in there where you can't tap it, nudge it, whatever, too hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Tilting.
But I've never.
Do you know how that's done, by the way?
No.
It's just a little ball hanging from a string inside like a diamond, essentially. And if you hit it enough to where it swings and touches the edges, that causes tilt.
Fascinating.
Oh, okay. I assumed it was some, because I don't remember what some dumb movie was just like a little ball like on a track in the back somewhere, and if it swayed too much, then you got to tilt or whatever. But yeah, no, my pinball knowledge is very, very minimal.
Yeah, I hate the wizard mode goals. I always have done. I always will do. But I'm also a giant dork, so I need to do I have two goals left on this table: is to hit every single super jackpot and activate Frog Frenzy. Which I was kidding. It's called Frog Frenzy.
Frog Frenzy.
And then I have to do the wizard goal, which is to successfully complete Ripley's name, which you do by completing all of the missions on it. Yeah, it's good. It's fine. Guess what I do when I'm playing it? I turn the volume down. I put a headphone in, and I listen to the Wheel of Time, baby.
There you go.
Yeah,
Check out the Outcast.
Yep. So there's a reason why I've been getting so much audiobooking, and it's not just job number 2. It's also so many pinball games. Hey, depending on which Ripley you're thanking, you better be real thankful.
That's the one with the cat.
Yeah, that's the one you want to be very thankful to.
Exactly. She saved humanity.
Okay. Exactly. Several times, in fact.
That's right. She's great.
And then was born again to save humanity again. Anyway, we don't talk about 4.
That's right.
The other several games I've been playing all fall under the same banner. You guessed it. It's the Sega Genesis collection. It's back on my home screen, which means it's front of mind, which means I'm playing it again. And I'm up to my S's, which means I hit Shinobi 3. I don't like the Shinobi games.
Okay.
Yeah.
The achievement for that game, by the way, is to beat an entire level without using Shuriken.
Oh. Okay.
How much does that suck?
A lot, because literally that's his primary weapon. Also, by the by, they're kunai, not shuriken.
Yeah.
Get your facts straight, please.
Get it straight, America.
Translations were a weird thing back then.
Yeah, I know. The one positive thing is, in the settings, you can turn it so that you have 0 shuriken, and then you just run around with your sword and your little dagger. So, as long as you don't pick up any collectibles, you can just run up and attack people. And not worry about accidentally throwing a shuriken.
That's not so bad.
For an hour, like I did. I tried to speedrun the first level. It did not go as planned. And then I turned my things to 0, and it was fine. We now move on to the big boys. I'm in my S's. It's S season has arrived. Pumpkin S season. Which means I'm, of course, at the big boys of the Sega franchise.
Yeah.
We're only going to talk about one particular franchise. It's the Sonic franchise, baby. You don't have Sonic 3 on here, or Sonic and Knuckles.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. That's a choice.
They have Sonic 1, which
Great
is
game.
Sonic 1. Minor spoiler, guess what the achievement is on Sonic 1?
Eat rolling hills.
Nope.
I don't know, actually.
So, most of the achievements in this game are really easy. Get to this level. Do this, do that. They know what their big boys are because they put impossible achievements into the big boys.
Fantastic.
So, Sonic is a big boy. What is the achievement?
Beat the game in a couple minutes.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's probably at least a basic beat the game achievement.
It's 1 per game, so no, it's not beat the game.
Oh, 1 per game.
It's even worse.
Beat the game without dying?
Nope, even worse.
Even
Have
worse.
max rings and beat the game?
Collect all of the Chaos Emeralds.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, Lord in heaven.
In Sonic 1, which, for those of you who don't remember, was the top view spinny world.
The vomitorium.
Yes.
Oh, man. Okay. That's pretty spicy. Yeah.
You know what's great, though? Up, down, left, right, A, B, start is still the debug menu in Sonic 1, or whatever the actual code is.
Oh, all right.
So, when I was a kid, I could never get the cheat codes to work for the Sonic games on the actual Genesis. Speaking of the vomitorium, thanks, Boston.
I can't even look at it.
Those backgrounds those backgrounds make it so much worse. That's the worst part.
I don't have any issues with that.
My inner ear
as a
can't
kid
even.
or now.
I'm 43 years old, and my brain is just like, nah, bro. We can't. You're 30 years past being able to do that.
I just remember it being a pain because I could never remember I could never remember the layout. Yeah, so I would spend more time bouncing around trying to figure out where I was supposed to be at.
I'm 30 or 40 years old, and I do not need this.
Yes. Bright side is the debug menu / level select thing that they let you do. You can turn into a ring and just fly into the middle of the level of the thing and turn back into Sonic, and you're done. You got the Chaos Emerald. Congratulations. Nice. Now do it again.
That's fun.
Yeah. It was very, very useful because I'm not doing the vomitorium. Don't let anybody hear me say this.
Okay, it's a secret.
Sonic 1 does not control very well.
No.
At all.
No.
It is a bad game.
I like Sonic 1 a lot, but I will also recognize it. They didn't nail it at in that first one.
It feels like the thing they have to sell it on is the speed that it runs, which is a genuinely fantastic thing for the record. But they always do that a-hole thing of, here is a huge big run, you do a little spinny loopy thing, oh, by the way, you're about to get launched directly into spikes.
Yep.
Unless you know to go faster.
Right. Or the last minute jump you need to do,
avoid
that way you don't get hit back the other direction.
By the Red Spring, yes.
Yep. Every time.
Sonic is not a great game. It is a fine game that controls like hot trash. It's Sonic 1, I guess. It's fine. But yes, I played that. I got the achievement in there. Sonic 2! Sonic and Tails, miles per hour, Tails, whatever is miles. Tails
Miles
per hour.
Tails per hour.
There we go.
Yep.
Still really fast, by the way.
Yeah.
It's that blast processing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Guess what the achievement is in Sonic 2?
Get the
All the Chaos Crystals.
Chaos Emeralds.
Nope.
Oh, I swear to God.
Beat Green Hill Zone with 5 lives.
Oh, that's not that bad.
Sega, come on.
I don't know if they have split personalities.
What
I
do
don't
you
know
want
what's
from
going
me?
on. But it is the most ridiculous, like, stupid achievement combination ever, where Sonic 1 is like, yo, basically 100% this game, please, and thank you very much. And then 2 is like, yeah, beat the first level with 5 lives. Is 2 the first appearance of Super Sonic?
I believe so. I don't think he was in 1.
Yeah, I don't think 1 had a whole lot of other characters and lore, really.
No.
Because I remember when I was a kid, the Legend of Super Sonic, being like, yeah, you just gotta get all the Chaos Emeralds.
Gold.
Enjoy this half-pipe mini-game. Which is considerably better than the Vomitorium, as Boston so aptly put it. I will say, I didn't realize until much later that him going gold was him basically turning Super Saiyan, for the record. I had no idea that that's what it was a reference to.
Yeah.
It took me way too long to realize that that's exactly what that was. Yeah, Sonic 2 is great. I think it's a much better game. I also like the fact that it's 2-player and Tails is essentially invincible, which is just great. And Tails can fly too. I'm disappointed the lack of Sonic and Knuckles because I miss.
Although with these achievements, it's probably good that it's not in there, because they'd probably be like, "Hey, finish Sonic and Knuckles 3 without getting hit a single time." It's like, what?
Oh, 100%.
Who are you?
Oh,
Who
finish
hurt
Sonic and Knuckles. Finish Sonic 1 as Knuckles without ever climbing on a wall.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Finish
Like,
100.
wait, hold on.
Remember when you could put any type of cartridge in the Sonic and Knuckles thing, and you
it would do weird stuff.
hit the buttons, and you'd get like hundreds
The sound effects and stuff.
No, hundreds of like randomly generated levels of that behind the back, like where you're walking on that orb and collecting all the blue orbs. You remember that mode from Sonic 3?
It's combining stuff with the Sonic and Knuckles game that wasn't meant to be combined with had all kinds of weird, crazy things
really
that
cool.
would happen.
Yeah.
That was the real blast processor. Was the Sonic and Knuckles mini going away? I did that. I got the 5 lives. Whatever. It's fine. It's only 2 zones. It's only 2 levels.
What is?
I always thought it was 3. I always thought it was Green Hill 1, Green Hill 2, boss fight. It's not. It's Green Hill 1, Green Hill 2, and the boss fight is included in the 2.
Oh, yeah, because I think...
I always thought it was 3 separate stages.
Yeah, because I think 3 did that, or Sonic and Knuckles did that. I don't remember which one.
But I always thought it was like separate levels for the boss fights.
Right.
Like, I don't know why, but it's not. It's like, yeah, hey, by the way, it's 2. Have fun with that. Also, Emerald Hill Zone and Green Hill Zone. Come on, who are you fooling? It's the same thing.
Come on, man. Lazy asset reuse, huh?
Is that a translation issue? Like, it should have been Emerald Hill or Green Hill? Who knows?
Maybe you're just in the county of Green Hill, Emerald, road.
The Duchy of...
I will say,
the Duchy
too,
of Robotnik.
I don't know why, but my daughter the last couple of weeks has been on like a major Sonic kick. Like reading manga, watching the TV shows now, like all of them,
She's
including the
excited for
original.
The new movie.
She really is. I made a joke about chili dogs, and she actually understood the reference from the original Sonic cartoon.
See, I'm up with what the kids like. Jaleel White and his chili dogs.
No, you don't get to say that. It's not that you're up with what the kids like. It's like you're making the kids like what you like. That's the problem here.
Man, if only my kid liked literally anything I liked.
I think
like
it's
JRPGs.
just rounding back around. Yeah,
that's right.
Like
true.
Talking about cycles and nature healing.
That's right.
Yeah, in the third age, as it was known, or as it was and as it will be in the future too.
The age of Shadow the Hedgehog.
My daughter is learning about the food groups that we had growing up in the 80s and 90s: pizza and chili dogs.
That's right.
Yep. Yeah, Sonic 2 is great.
Yep.
It's still shockingly good for how it is. I still, as someone who likes Dark Souls games, I still hate the fact that you hit one thing and you lose all of your coins. Like, I had 98, I was 2 away from an extra life, and I hit one thing, and now I'm done.
Yeah.
It's like, I hate you so much. It's fine. Sonic 3D is in this.
Oh, okay.
The forgotten Sonic child, one might say.
Sonic 3D Blast is sure a video game.
I forgot this was a Master System / Mega Drive game. I thought this was a Saturn game.
Yeah, because it certainly looks like that era of, like, the early Saturn games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It ain't. It's a Mega Drive game, baby.
Yep, that's why it's so zoomed in.
Yep, because you can't see anything, and it can do, like, 4 things.
Yeah.
Sonic 3D is not a good game.
It's a cool idea, it's just no good.
You know it's no good because there is not an achievement for playing the Sonic 3D game.
Wow. Oh, buddy.
There is an achievement for playing every game in the collection. But there is not an individual achievement tied specifically to Sonic 3D.
That's harsh, Sega. But I get it.
How down are you on your own franchise that the first achievement is get the Chaos Emeralds? The second achievement is beat the first zone with 5 lives, and the third achievement doesn't exist.
Maybe they were just trying to ease you down some, you know? They got you all hopped up on the first game.
Right.
Well, yeah, also it helps that you can't see a thing in Sonic 3D. It's just so rough.
Yeah.
And it controls bad enough as it is. But hey, Boston, can you do me a favor? Can you tell me what the release year for Sonic 3D was? Whatever the subtitle is?
Sonic 3D Blast. Great question. I actually don't know. 1996. That's late.
Oh no. Genuinely 1996.
Uh-huh.
What month?
November.
This came out after Super Mario 64 came out.
Uh-huh. To be fair, I didn't know that there was also a Saturn version of this. I don't know if I've ever seen that.
Well, I was sure it was a Saturn game, which means I've played the Saturn version of it and not the Mega Drive version of it.
Yep.
Sonic 3D came out the same year as Super Mario 64, dude.
That's bananas. No wonder why nobody
Sonic
played this.
I was gonna say, but Sonic has always had issues with 3D. It never got it right until
this is
probably the newer stuff now. Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Oh, I feel bad now because Mario 64 was June 23rd.
Wow.
Did Super Mario 64 drop, and then all of a sudden every single dev who worked on Sonic 3D was just like, uh-oh.
Well, like so many like platformer devs were probably playing it going like, oh no. Oh,
well, heck,
boy.
I know for the 64 we had like a whole, like, that was the opening of like 3D.
Yep.
For the longest time.
Yep.
Oh, that's rough, dude.
Yeah. Sorry, Sonic 3D Blast.
Yeah. Onto brighter things, I guess.
Sure.
Sonic Pinball specifically.
Oh, Sonic.
And this is my final game this week. I go from pinball to pinball, bookending all of my content.
I was gonna say, was this the pinball one? Yeah.
I played a lot of this when I was a kid.
I know this is one of the ones that you have definitely put some time into.
Let's be honest. It's bad. Unequivocally,
rough.
Nearly uncontrollably bad.
Definitely rough.
It fails consistently at being a pinball game. It's rough. And I loved it.
And it also fails at being a Sonic game, weirdly enough.
Yes. You can look at stuff like Pokemon Pinball. That's a pretty good pinball game. I liked the Kirby pinball on the original Game Boy. I played a lot of that too.
Mm-hmm.
Like those
I
are.
heard that was really the pinball one. The Pokemon one was great because you were also catching Pokemon at the same time.
Like it's a good pinball game and a good Pokemon game. Like it was cool. This is
like Pokemon the TCG.
Neither.
It was a great card game and a great Pokemon game.
Yeah, like Sonic Spinball is neither of those things.
And it's weird as well because you can control your speed when you're going down ramps. Like you could speed up the spin and make him go faster down ramps.
So weird.
Which is just, it feels like poison for a pinball game.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, I can slow down and speed up my spin at will? Like what?
Right. That's not how that works.
No. I'm still need to get the achievement in Sonic Spinball, which is collect all the Chaos Emeralds in the first level.
Oh, that's rough.
So, here's hoping there is another 1996 cheat code hanging around somewhere.
Yeah.
Waiting for me to access it, but it is charming in so many different ways. Like the game genuinely is.
Mm-hmm. It's got a cool soundtrack.
It is a charming, fun, weird little game.
Yep.
And then it's just so weird in like a bad way instead.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. The fact that you can fall between the flippers and land on the platform, and it's like, hey, you might want to jump. And it's just like, wait, what? Is it a pinball game or a Sonic game? And it turns out it's both and neither at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, it's strange.
Yeah.
Sonic Spinball, folks. Give it a shot, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, it's
odd.
It's certainly unique.
Yes. Sure. We'll say that. But yeah, that's literally all I've been playing. So, Nimp, take her away, please.
All right.
Good news is... whoa. Good news is... as soon as I'm done with Sonic Spinball, Streets of Rage is next, baby.
Yeah, let's go.
And then you can play Streets of Rage 4 once you play all the originals.
That's right.
You got that
Streets
back
of Rage
end.
4 was actually on sale as well for like $4 last week, so I bought Streets of Rage 4.
Oh, Streets
there
of
you
Rage 4
go.
is so
Getting
good.
prepped.
That's right.
All right. I have a couple of quick games. First quick game is PowerWash Simulator. I don't remember where I left off on that last time because I completed the Helter Skelter. I did the monster truck thing. I had to actually do the monster truck in, free play mode?
Did you have to do it on a Sunday?
Yes. We'll sell you the whole seat, but you only need the edge. No, but I had to do the monster truck one in free play mode because I accidentally washed one of its fangs because you had to do all 4 tires first before you did anything else.
Right,
the fangs are like the tiny little part in the front, and I somehow managed to spray one by accident and clear it, and
that's so
that
annoying.
sucked. But I am now doing the Ferris wheel, and the achievement for that one was you had to grab the gnome from the top of Helter Skelter, walk over to the Ferris wheel, do 1 complete rotation, and then you got the achievement. So now I'm just cleaning that. So that was easy.
Mm-hmm.
Next game, Vampire Survivors.
I played a lot of Vampire Survivors this week, man.
I did too. I've unlocked 62 trophies so far.
I've unlocked a lot. I don't have the platinum yet because the platinum is kind of weird.
Yeah.
Let me pull up how many I have here if my PlayStation app is going to work. I've unlocked 159 trophies.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, I've been doing this off and on. Like, whenever I have a couple minutes, just pop it on and figure things out.
Play for 30 minutes.
Exactly.
Yep.
Right now, it's just me trying to remember the combination or the evolutions.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm still at the point where it's like every time I play a match, I'm unlocking at least 1 trophy.
Yep,
at
ditto.
the minimum. So it's like, all right, cool. Whatever. Yeah, I have done this library portion too. I forgot what zone I unlocked after that. But I'm slowly working through it. I now have the bone zone, and I know that's where I'm going to get the yellow card, yellow something.
Oh,
just be thankful it's not a red card. Soccer joke.
That's right. I unlocked it recently. The Scrolls of Morbane, I think it was.
Maybe whatever the whole. it's like the thing that you need for all of a sudden Vampire Survivors to just open up.
Mm-hmm.
I've been at that point that I could have done that for a while now, but I've been nitpicking and unlocking other things that I know I can do before I get into the rest of the game. So that's just what I've been sticking with.
Yeah, I played a bunch this week, and I unlocked 2 things, one of which is new to me at least. I remembered I unlocked the Astral Staircase, and I was like, oh wait, there's something in there that I remember liking. That's the roulette wheel thing in the bottom right-hand corner where you have random events. I was like, yeah, all right, I remember loving that thing. So I went and I unlocked that, and that's I've had that enabled on nearly all of my runs, because it's, even if the roulette wheel gives you something bad, it at least injects a little bit of chaos in your run for like maybe 15 seconds. And half of the time it's just like, all right, here's a free like gift box which lets you pick one of the base weapons. Go crazy, you know, like it gives you a bunch of really cool stuff. The other thing that I unlocked, I don't even remember which level it is, because we were talking about it on Pup yesterday, which there's a new episode, Picking Up the Pixels RPG Lover, out right now. I should have mentioned that at the beginning. We were talking about, you know, every once in a while they'll be like, hey, a new free patch is out. It has a new level, 2 new characters, 5 new weapons, that sort of thing. One of those levels, it just says there's like an artifact or whatever, relic in the stage. Random power-ups. And I was just like, okay, let's go get that. Let's go pick that up. Let's go see what that is. Turns out, if you turn that on when you start a run, you don't get to choose your things that you pick. You know, when you level up, you get the 3 or 4 selections. Yeah. It just picks one at random for you.
Ooh,
and I was like, all right, thankfully you can turn it on and turn it off. Because like if you couldn't turn that off, you couldn't do like the 31-minute challenges in the game. But I was like, all right, that's pretty cool, because this game is just gonna toss 6 weapons and 6 passive items at you and go make that run work. It's like, all right, that's pretty cool.
I do know. I can't wait to unlock the auto selector when you get to the point of either you have all the items upgraded as high as you can, so it's just giving you turkey or money.
Yeah.
To be able to tell it always pick money, you know, stop asking me to level up, or when you get to the point where you can over level your items and just tell it just randomly pick an item and keep over leveling it.
Just unlocked that too. I think that game calls it limit breaks now, of just like now you're at, you know, level 150 and all of your items are at like level 30. You know, you have like the water is at level 30 something. It's like, okay, cool. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So having a lot of fun with that. My son's picked it up as well.
Nice.
Well, I bought it, but he's downloaded it and he's playing it now as well, and he's getting all geeked out because he's figuring it out. He touched it a little bit on the Xbox. I don't remember how far he got in it originally. I don't really think it really clicked with him to start with, but now he's kind of just getting into it again.
Yep.
I know I'm super cheap because I bought all the DLC for this. I haven't gone back to it since we played it for We Rogue Like It, but I bought all the DLC for it when it was all on sale.
Yeah.
So I was like, 20% off, you save 20 cents. I was like, okay.
There you go.
Instead of paying $3, you're paying like $2.60.
Yeah.
Really breaking the bank on that. So
we talked about this a lot on Pup yesterday, but this is the perfect game for me right now, where it's like, okay, my run is going to last at maximum 30 minutes. I got 30 minutes. I can squeeze one run in before I need to go do something. Perfect. I'll do one run of this, maybe 2 runs if I got a little bit of time, and I'll move on to whatever else I'm doing. It's so good for that.
It's been really fun where I've got a long run going, and then all of a sudden it just gets super difficult. It's like, whoa, that came out of nowhere. It's been a while since this game's challenged me. So.
Oh, I did manage to introduce lag in this new engine, though. I had a run where I had the fully upgraded Song of Mana. It's the one that goes vertical.
Yeah.
And then I had whatever the Jubilee is, the fireworks one. I had that fully upgraded. That did it for the engine. The engine was just like, nope, that's too many. That's too many particles or effects or whatever. This is gonna slow down. I was like, hey, yeah.
So on the Portal, I don't know if it was a networking issue or if it was a PlayStation issue, but I did get to a point that there were so many enemies surrounding my character that I started getting artifacting,
perfect,
real heavy, and then all of a sudden it would like freeze and then speed up and then freeze and then speed up. It's like
literally every YouTube video I can find of this game where it just looks chunky. It's just like, this is a hard game to display.
And I can't rule out that it wasn't a network connection, but I'm thinking it wasn't because my network isn't bad. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still love this game. I still love hearing my PlayStation whirl up on this dumb little game.
You're like, that's right, I'm at minute 25. Stuff's getting serious.
Yep. My next game, I am still playing Robocop Rogue City. I have not beaten it yet. I am about halfway.
Thanks to you, I now have 2 B-class games on my list of games on my wish list.
There you go.
Really, yeah, they're great B games.
if Alien Dark Descent told me one thing, it's like maybe I should check out all of these B games.
Yeah.
That's kind of the direction I'm heading. And like I think it was last year I was complaining that we don't see B tier games that often anymore.
Right.
And then I got introduced to these and I'm like, all right, cool. Like I'm glad someone is pushing them. They're not great, but that's fine. They don't need to be great. These don't need to be Game of the Year games. Yes, they look a little off. Yes, they look like they could have been last gen just a little bit, but that's kind of what I'm here for.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I'm in the prison right now. I won't get into it story-wise, but that looks to be about the halfway point in this game. I didn't really have a whole lot of time to put into it. But I've got all of the combat leveling pips completely covered. Okay. I'm getting into armor, which the coolest thing about the armor is that once you get armor maxed out, all small arms fire will start to bounce off your armor and ricochet and potentially damage anybody that's around you.
All right, that's pretty good.
I unlocked with the combat one, there's a shockwave. I think I talked about it a little bit last time. But at first I thought it was just like a flashbang. Like it would just basically daze anybody that was next to you. I don't know if it's because I upgraded it or what, but it straight up kills like anybody around me.
Oh, geez.
Which makes it really great for those breach room ones where there's a bunch of people, you got the slowdown, and I just kind of charge in there and I activate it, and then everybody but the hostage is dead.
Oh, wow.
So that makes it a lot easier for me.
Fun.
I still have issues with the aiming. I think it's just not great. It's not horrific, but I've been messing with the sensitivity settings like a lot, and I just can't get it to a spot where it feels good. And it's always that dumb thing where it's like I'll go to aim at a character and it does like the acceleration with you aiming. So then I get too far in front of them. So then I try to pull back and then I'm behind them. So I'm shooting like in front and behind until finally the third shot gets them right in the head kind of thing. And I was finding too that the aim assist can sometimes be super aggressive every once in a while if there's a bunch of enemies where I'm trying to shoot. I had this happen in a parking lot thing that I was doing earlier. I'm trying to shoot a guy hiding behind a table, and 2 guys happen to run past him, so my gun starts to go after them, but I'm like trying to correct it to go back to the guy that I was trying to shoot.
Right.
So I'm just shooting the void in between these guys, and I'm like, please. But outside of that, though, it's bad, but it's not bad enough that it's frustrating. It's only frustrating in the video right now. Boston has the shooting range up. This is the only time it gets frustrating because there's an achievement for getting 250 points at this shooting range, and it's that same thing where it's like I go to aim. Basically, you have 6, 7 targets that are coming towards you. And you have until one of them comes all the way up front and touches that barrier in front of you, and you can still take them out, but if it sits there for too long, it's done.
Well, it can't be that hard. He just got 220 points on the video.
Yeah, that guy can... do things that I can't say on this podcast because I've watched a lot of videos and everyone, both PC and console, have this issue because apparently it's not any better with a mouse either. Like it's just really weird,
kind of sluggish.
Yeah. But there are things that you can do to help get you there, like you can do the slow-mo and stuff like that. But this is the only time you even see him do it here off and on too, where it's like he can't get the crosshairs to hit the target before he starts shooting. So that's the only time it's an issue. Other than that, it's just like, okay, yeah, you shot me like twice. I'm at like 99% health. I'm going to kill you
I'm
now.
at 99.9% health. I think I'm okay.
Yeah. So it's still great. That's besides the saving, because that's the only other reason I haven't played it a whole lot, since there isn't a manual save. God, the guy got 408 points. Screw that guy.
Yeah, but how many times did they try? And they're like, oh yeah, first try.
Had
wink.
to be too many. But yeah, not being able to manually save is kind of the thing that's really preventing me from playing it a lot more, because this week I did have a whole lot of, I only have a couple minutes.
Yeah.
And I don't have time to try to find a place for the autosave to kick in, so that way I don't lose like 15-20 minutes of progress. So that's why I did a lot of Vampire Survivors this week. But the other game that I did a ton with this week, and this is my last game this week, is Star Trucker.
Star Trucker.
So I installed this.
Uh-huh.
And then I was going to play it, and then I realized I've got so much fear of the tutorial. I don't know how long it's going to take me to actually do the tutorial.
Tutorial doesn't take that long.
Okay.
So, a lot of people have been comparing this to Elite Dangerous.
Okay.
Nope. No, don't say that. Don't.
Be gone, devil.
No. How dare you? That's the Dark One's name. He must not be named.
This way, Elite Dangerous was more about the long haul, putting in the time to get the money. Yes. This game is more about, like, at the end of that haul, you have to be more precise in maneuvering.
Okay.
So, in Elite Dangerous, you would fill up your cargo bay with whatever, and you would just fly to the next station, go to the mission board, mission complete, you were done. That was it. There was no, besides trying to get through a mail slot, if it was at an actual base station, there wasn't a whole lot of maneuvering. It was just making sure you didn't get interdicted and that you didn't fly too close to the sun, you know, with your explosives cargo. This game, so far, there aren't pirates or anything like that. So you don't have to worry about any of that crap. It is not multiplayer either so far. I don't know if that's ever going to be a thing, but it is a single-player experience.
Nice.
You are basically grabbing cargo from one spot, going to a gate, jumping to the next area, whether it be the drop-off point or, you know, maybe you've got 2 jumps before you get to your drop-off point. But either way, once you get to your drop-off point, you're just maneuvering to where it tells you to go. You unhitch your haul, you get paid, you get experience points, you go back to the job board, and you get more.
Okay, so it's more like a relaxing, almost cozy thing?
Absolutely not. So, I made that sound easy, and it can be that easy. This is definitely a sim, okay?
Gotcha.
So, I will tell you, everyone, if you go to start this game, go to the customized difficulty. Don't look at the other difficulties. Customize difficulty. Look for the options for, I think it's battery drain and filters or something like that. Something to do with how your batteries and your filters drain. Set those all the way to low.
Oh, okay.
Because if you keep them at medium, where they stay at default on the normal difficulty, they will constantly drain.
Oh,
and
okay.
It is funny when things happen, like your gravity core gives out because your battery's dead, so now everything in your area is floating everywhere and bashing into stuff. But batteries are expensive. Air filters are stupid expensive, and you can't recharge.
Batteries are flammable too, we learned.
Yes, true.
You cannot recharge batteries. You can only buy new ones.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
Future does
your
suck, huh?
and your truck, and this was an ongoing joke that I've read into a lot of forums. Your truck apparently doesn't have an alternator, so
Okay.
it's just draining energy the entire time.
Man.
You can pull out the batteries, like you can deactivate the system, pull out the battery, pop in a new one, and you can resell the old battery.
Okay.
But obviously at a markdown. Batteries, there are two different versions of the batteries. There's one with 150. I'm trying to remember. I think 100 is like the cheapest one, and that's like $500.
Mm-hmm.
The one that's like 150 is like $600 or something like that.
Oh boy. Okay.
Yeah. And your hauls so far with me, I've played 6 hours, and I think the most money I've made off of one haul was $2,400.
Oh wow. Okay.
So money is kind of tight in the beginning. So just do yourself a favor, and just bump those down. So because they still drain, and you still will have to replace them. But like medium is no joke. I got through, I think like 2 missions, and I lost my gravity, and that's how I know things will float. And it is kind of funny when you're in your cab and everything that was in the back, when you press the brakes, all of a sudden is up front and in your view screen because you don't have gravity.
So you're sort of saying that Star Trucker is as relaxing for those that like it as Death Stranding is?
Yes.
Oh no,
yes,
no!
Absolutely.
Don't say that around him. You said the 2 forbidden names in like the past 4 minutes.
I just had this moment of like, this sounds a lot like why I find Death Stranding fun. Oh no!
So, why I find this game enjoyable is because I'm that idiot that it's like I see a knob, I want to touch the knob, but I want the knob to do something.
Yeah, I want to flip all my switches and
that is 100% this game.
Man, that's
there are so many knobs for you to flip and switches to toggle and things to screw up horribly in this game that I found out the hard way.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess when you're doing, so when the game starts out, you are in a truck and you have a CB radio, even though it's the future, and it's a legit CB radio, and you can grab the microphone and people are talking to you, and you hold down right trigger and you can respond back. You are broken down along the side of a quote-unquote road in space, and I'll get more into those as well. It looks like you may have just like been waking up, like you took damage or something, because they're telling you, hey, it looks like you're leaking your lung juice there, oxygen, because your environment is going out this crack in the side of your truck. So you have to get out of your seat. It turns around. You have a full cab in the back, like a bed, racks to store stuff and everything. You can't sleep in the bed, unfortunately, which would be very helpful for something later on. But you have an upstairs like mezzanine that has your airlock and a spacesuit. Put on your spacesuit, go out the airlock, you're on the outside of your truck floating around, you're looking for where the hole breach is, you put a piece of metal on it, you tack it on, you're good to go.
That's right.
You get back into your truck, put your spacesuit back, because don't forget to do that, because you'll keep draining energy and oxygen on your spacesuit, and you can suffocate yourself in your spacesuit.
Oh, fun.
Ask me how I know, while being inside my cab full of oxygen.
I got the bad ending.
Yeah. So once you do that, you find out that you were in the middle of hauling something, so you just continue on with the drop off. You get like your first like $1,000 or whatever, and then it kind of continues on with like this little light end story where there's other truckers talking amongst themselves over the radio. As you continue on, they'll start to give you jobs to help out, but you can pick up your own jobs. All the systems that you can go into, they have like a store and a job board that you can dock with. This is where another pro tip is going to come in, because I don't know if you can do it while you have a trailer. I'm going to say you can't. I've never tested it because I just assume you can't, because it wouldn't make sense. But when you don't have a trailer, you have to back up your space truck, which, by the way, is just a semi with propulsion rockets underneath it.
It's really good.
Yeah. You back it up. And you have a back camera to the left of you that you can line up to the hitch. And you can also bump it out into third person so that you can see outside of the truck as well. But I do it all first person. Back it up, you hit your truck to it, and then it pulls you in. And it's the same for the job or the store. There's two different ports you have to go into, but they both work exactly the same. Of the job will pop up a menu, you select whatever job works for you, and it's all just like stuff like, hey, like the first ones you get is like, just get this from point A to point B.
Okay.
Here you'll get $800 or something. The store, it's just a literal listing of stuff where it's like, hey, you can buy like these little Pelican boxes, or hey, you can buy batteries, you can buy air filters. Not all stores have everything, but I bought a bunch of the Pelican boxes because all the items that are in your cab that you can buy all have HP.
Oh, okay.
So if they're floating around because you ran out of gravity or you get hit by a lightning storm or whatever, if they're just out in your cab, they can take damage, which means they won't work as well. Or if you were trying to pick them up to sell them somewhere, you'll lose value because they're, damaged. If you put them in these Pelican cases, they're pretty much protected from everything.
Okay.
Pro tip, if you don't want Pelican cases to float around your cab if you lose gravity, put them in the rack, open the lid. It'll wedge it in there.
Oh.
Another pro tip, with these stores, a lot of things that I was reading online, we all complained that when you get out of the menu for the store or for the job board, there wasn't a way to reactivate that. So you would have to undock, float away a little bit, and then back up into it to reinitialize it.
Yeah.
What I discovered this week, though, and I started posting this everywhere that I could, if you close the airlock door, because when you buy something, they just dump it in your airlock. And my airlock door was always open because there's not a need to keep it closed unless you're venting out. Which you can also screw that up too, so pay attention between the process of how you vent out. Anyway, so I'd closed the door one time because I was like, I'll just close it just to keep everything looking nice and stuff. And that's when I noticed that my door started glowing blue, and I could reopen that menu instead of having to undock and redock.
Oh, interesting.
So there's another fun tip for you. Anyway, with the jobs and stuff that you can take, like I said, there was the A and B job, but as you're floating around in here, you have gates that you go through, and the gates kind of act like a highway. So from the job board, it says, hey, grab this thing, you're taking it to Atlas Prime. And it'll tell you if you were, I'm just going to throw some names out here. If you're in Medusa 6 and you need a load to Atlas Prime, it'll point, once you grab it from the job board, unhitch from the portal, it'll show you, hey, this is where the cargo is, come over here and pick it up. So you float over there and grab it. There are roads in these areas which are usually clear and don't have debris in them. You don't have to fly through those roads. But depending on the area you're at, there's debris everywhere.
Right.
And it's kind of a gamble, because I've been able to navigate. I don't use roads a whole lot, but it's kind of a gamble because you can't go too fast, because all of a sudden you get a proximity alert, and the next thing you know, you see a rock hit your windshield and you have a breach.
I mean, micrometeors never did anything bad.
They do a lot bad in this game. So then you have to stop the truck, then you have to get out, then you have to, get your hull patched before you vent out all of your oxygen, then you pop back in, and then you can continue on. It's fine a lot of the time. Roads are usually where you kind of want to stick with when you're first out, because it's one less thing that you have to worry about.
Yeah.
But as you get more comfortable, then you can kind of tarry off to wherever you want to. As you can continue to do these and you drop them off, because like once you get to Atlas with the cargo, it'll tell you, hey, go over here and drop it off. And then once you get to whatever location you need to maneuver to, so far none of them have been terribly hard. But there has been one or two spots where it's been kind of tight to get the load dropped off. You don't need to back anything up so far. I've been able to drive straight into it. And even if there is a building or a wall behind it, there's usually been enough clearance, because there'll be like a 3D space where it's like purple, and that's where you drop off your load. As soon as you get the trailer far enough into that space, it'll turn green and you can unhitch, and then you get paid out for your delivery.
Okay.
And there's been enough room every time that I've been able to pull in, truck first, and then eventually maneuver myself face up, or what could be called up, and then get out of there without it being an issue. Save all the time. Save when you buy stuff at the store. Save when you pick up a job. Save when you hitch up to the job. Save when you drop off and you're done with the job.
Right.
Because it never fails. Everything will be going smooth. You'll hit something thinking you had enough clearance. Everything is screwed. And that, not in a horrific way, but it's like if you just paid a little more attention, you wouldn't have $2,000 in repair fees.
Yeah.
Kind of thing, So save a lot, because then you can just load back to your last save and not have to worry about and then pay attention to what you hit. There have been times where AI either doesn't notice that you're there, or they don't care that you're there. Because I had a tiny little, it looks like a little forklift thing that I was riding along with. It all of a sudden stopped, turned left, ran right into the side of my truck. And then I got fined, and I had a hull breach, and it damaged the trailer, so I got less money, or I would have gotten less money on that pull. So I just restarted my save, and that stupid little thing was there again, so I gave it plenty of room.
Yeah.
So that kind of sucked. But there is also a radio that you can listen to.
Ooh, all right.
There is not a ton of music. There is enough.
Country and Western. Sorry, space and Western.
That's right.
It is 100%. This sounds like everything you would hear at a truck stop.
Great.
There are also commercials.
Oh, that's really good.
For energy drinks, or quote unquote energy drinks, but stimulants, the things to keep you going.
Right.
The lawyer commercial is hilarious because they're there to fight for you and your rig.
That's great.
There's like all kind, and the music is really good. This is a 2-person team. This is developed by Monster and Monster, so they don't have a ton for music, but it sounds like in the future they may try to patch more in later on.
Sure.
But that's kind of right now they're kind of in the phase of this was a passion project.
I also just looked because I was curious how much this is. It's only $25.
Yeah, which is not a whole lot.
That's pretty cheap.
And the thing that I see people complaining all the time on this game, where it's like, guys, like, yeah, okay, autosaving could be a little better.
Sure.
Yeah, okay, the AI pathing could be a little better.
Right.
It's 2 people, and it's $25.
You give them a little time.
I am. Yeah. Some of the hitboxes for like some of the random, junk that's floating around in space kind of seems a little too big for the size it actually is.
Right.
You know what? Get over it. It was $25. I'm sure they'll fix it in the future.
Yeah,
just give them time.
Yeah.
Buttons and doodads, as we've seen the dashboard in this video several times. In front of you, you have a speedometer. You also have cruise control.
Nice.
And it's a literal button that you just click, and then you can click up and down on it to increase or decrease, your speed. Later on, I just got to a point where I have, I forget what they actually call them now, but they're basically resistors. Or not resistors. Yeah. They're like these little socket things that you put inside your cab of your truck, and I can get into these areas now that have like electrical storms. And so as your truck is accumulating electricity, these little socket things aren't absorbing it, but instead of your truck taking damage, if you get to a critical point, they'll basically pop. And it just clears the charge on your truck, so they take the damage instead of your truck taking the damage. And you can have up to 3 of them equipped at the start. I don't know if it becomes more or less later on, but they're about $2,000 a pop, which from my understanding is a lot cheaper than the damage that storm would do to your truck. So it's better just to have it equipped. That's something that you see on your dash. You have control of your lights underneath. So I shut all the lights off when I'm piloting. That way I'm not having to worry about them draining the batteries.
Right.
I also, there's a big triangle button in the middle that shuts off assist. And because I'm a big boy, my assist has been off since day one.
Boop.
And boy, does it make this game challenging.
Gotta get all those extra kudos.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you've got like the little bobs or like the little toggles for like you can turn on and off your headlights, your upper cab lights, your alternate lights on the trailers and stuff if you want to for some reason. You have a lever for your horn. You have a truck horn. How it works in space, who cares? It's great, and you hear other trucks use their horn too. So it's
I'm not
all
here
just
for
fantastic.
accuracy. I'm here for space trucking.
It's just been a lot of fun. There is a leveling system, but it's not. You're not increasing like your character's performance or anything. It's more like, hey, you've earned enough experience. There is a skill tree, but it's like, okay, you have a skill point. Now you can either put it into what they call fast jobs. It was either fast jobs or on-time jobs or like fragile jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And once you've put it in one of those jobs now start to become available, and they start to pay more than the regular point A to point B transfers that you were doing.
Oh, okay.
So like I went with the fragile jobs. That means like you touch anything, like a lot of the load takes a hit and you get diminished return. So you have to be really careful while piloting with this load. Those usually pay out really well. I think I have like fragile jobs like version 2, which gives me like a higher payout and more time to be able to get a load from one space to another. And then there's also the on time jobs or whatever. And I put one point in here, and I think I took one because I took a job where it said get to purity by like 3:36 a.m. I'm like, well, I'm in the system that's like right next to it. I just have to take the gate to purity and I'm there. And it was like 12:50 or 2:50 in the morning. It's like, all right, I go grab the load, I get the purity, and normally there's like a little icon that pops up that says, hey, this is the drop zone.
Sure.
There's no icon.
Ooh, no.
I'm like, what the hell is going on? What am I missing here? And then I'm sitting here thinking, and I'm like, oh, this is to be announced. They don't know where the drop-off location is. They just know they need it at this location. They don't know where the drop-off is yet. So I had to sit there and wait a half hour real life time for the stupid clock to tick around enough so that way it could finally give me the drop zone. And the drop zone, it was like from 0336 to 0526 or whatever. You had that amount of time to drop it off. But since I was already at purity, as soon as that drop zone icon popped up, I just went over there, dropped it off, and then I got like extra money and stuff for dropping it off early and all that. Nice. So you could potentially grab one of those jobs but not grab the load, and then grab a different job, run that load, come back, grab the cargo for that job, and then go to that location when the time is right to drop it off. So that's interesting. You do get, so there's that. I actually wrote them all down because I have, see, normal point A to point B jobs. There's also the fragile, the on time, hazardous loads is one that you can unlock. Perishable loads, valuable, heavy, long distance, and oversized are all things that you can unlock jobs in your skill tree for you to do. There are perks that you can unlock, or I'm calling them perks, but they're in the same skill tree where you can hook up multiple trailers. So as you're flying around, I have seen other trucks in this game that have like 3 trailers hooked up.
Yeah, that's cool.
I have no clue how that's gonna work.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have to pick up the trailers in the drop-off order, or if it's going to be like all 3 of these trailers go to the same drop-off, or what. I am very interested, and I'm also very scared on how that's going to work, because mass is a very real thing in this game, and it's already hard to accelerate and hard to stop as it is. So I can't imagine having 2 more on top of the normal trailer.
Tripling that.
Yeah.
Right.
But you can also get more cargo weight for your cab, because you can buy stuff in a shop, just like regular items, put them in your cab, and then once you get to a different area, you can sell them at that shop too. And it's got its own economy system. So some places, like batteries, normally $500. Sometimes you can find them for $300. So you buy a bunch of them, and even if you don't keep all of them, if you go to the next place, and you know electricity's at a premium in that sector, you could sell those batteries for like $800 a pop.
Right, gotcha.
So you've kind of got that thing going on too. But your cab, when you start out, you can only have a certain amount of weight, and you do get occasionally pulled to go into a weigh station, and they scan you. And if you have too much weight, you get a fine,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to get rid of items until you meet the weight that you're allowed to carry in your cab.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
This doesn't impact anything in your trailer. Your trailer can weigh whatever it weighs. It's not impacting your cab weight. So those are two different things. You can also get EVA training, which just makes it so that the oxygen and the energy in your suit drain slower as you use them. So that way you can spend more time. There's scavenging that you can do in this game that I've only done once. So I'm not going to get too much into it. But it basically sounds like you can grab items and bring them back to your truck. There are contraband items, kind of like Elite Dangerous, actually a lot like Elite Dangerous, where you can buy alcohol in this sector and you can turn around and sell it. But you better make sure that the next sector that you're going to doesn't have high security and is, prohibiting alcohol. Because if you pop in there, you get scanned.
You just got to make sure it's not a dry sector. That's what you're looking for.
Exactly. Right. And there isn't a dark cargo or like a shielded cargo hold so far. So if you get caught with that crap, you get a fine, and I'm pretty sure you have to space it. So, so there's a little bit of that. Roads. And I already talked about the roads and the off-roading. It's fine. Map, it kind of looks like the FTL map, where it's like you pick a point to like
there's a bunch
put
of
a marker there
nodes that are connected by kind of lines.
Yep, and it'll show you if there isn't a direct node to that location. It'll show you, hey, you want to take this gate, jump to the next location. Once you get to that location, it'll point you to the next gate that you need to take to continue on. There are 2 different gates that I've come across so far. It's a normal gate where they're all free to use, but then you get like an express gate where it'll take you further, and it's a direct jump to a specific location, but it costs like $150 every time you use it, and it just takes it automatically out of. And I'm trying to think. I think that is everything that I have written down for
This game looks cool. I also forgot that it's on Game Pass.
Yeah, that's how I'm playing it right now. Yeah. It's been stupid fun. Once you get, so your truck starts at like 79,000 miles or something like that, and one of the NPCs will tell you, hey, once you hit 80,000 miles, that's when you can start customizing your truck, because before you hit 80,000, if you go back to a repair place, they'll repair your truck for free under warranty.
Oh, okay.
But once you hit 80,000 miles, you get like an alert that says, hey, your truck is out of warranty. You can no longer get free repairs, blah, 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 blah. But now you can do the thing that all truck owners love to do, and that's customize your truck.
Right.
So you unlock paint jobs based off of like things that you've done in the game, and they're free. You can unlock different like hood ornaments and scoops and lights and all this other dumb stuff. It's fun. That's all I really have to say about it. It has been a great fun game. It is janky at times, but I've really enjoyed just putzing around in this stupid thing and then figuring out that, hey, I was going way too fast for this turn, and now I'm like upside down and sideways, and I don't know how to get out of this.
Right.
One last thing, one weird bug, the pause menu for some reason. If it's in the pause menu, I haven't figured out for how long, but for a specific amount of time, all of a sudden when you unpause, the game freaks out and acts like you hit something, and so your truck is like all askew and you're taking damage everywhere. So they are aware of it, and they're looking into whatever that is, and it seems to be PC and console right now.
Weird.
So they're looking into it. I've had the game paused up to like 5-ish minutes without any issues, but anything longer than that, that seems to be kind of the sweet spot. So be mindful of that. You can save at any point in time, so you don't have to get to like a destination and dock and then be able to save. It's like you can stop right then and there, and then you can save and go back into the game. So maybe do that. But yeah,
that's cool. That sounds cool.
It's a dumb fun game. I really am enjoying this, and that's why I was super excited when we had releases last week.
Yeah. Man.
So yeah, that's what I tend to be spending my time with, is Star Trucker.
All right.
So yeah.
I have a lot of games this week, but I'm going to blow through a bunch of them here real fast. Trine 1, the hottest new game here. Over the last month or so, I think. Longtime friends Bill Sifford and the Hannah and I have been playing this, sort of trying to find a bunch of games like this that are, 3 to 4 player games that maybe we already own or are available for cheap, that we can play. And we played it 3 player. We just finished it this week. We're going to move on to Trine 2 next. I had a lot more fun playing this game because I was playing it with friends. I don't think I would have stuck the whole way through it if I was just playing solo, because this game feels very much of its time. It's all just kind of a little broken. It's all a little, like, it doesn't really want to work with a controller. It has a separate launcher when you fire it up that you can set your video settings in. It's very much from that time. Surprisingly, the multiplayer stuff worked pretty well. I don't think I was expecting it to work at all, but we really didn't have any issues. Outside of our last session, which kind of had some lag issues, but I mean, who knows what that's about. But this was largely good. I mean, I feel like I don't need to say too much about Trine in 2024 because there are 5 of them. Trine 5 came out last year.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, which I totally.
I thought they only went up to 3. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's really just, it worked really well with the 3 characters. A lot of the puzzles were fun, and not too many of them were like serious head scratchers. Where it's like I don't know what we could do. We probably brute forced a couple of them anyways, which is half of the fun of this game anyways. The last boss was a nightmare. That was no fun, but thankfully not super long. But it was cool. It was cool to play this game with 3 people and kind of play a little bit every week and solve all the puzzles, and it was cool. I'm looking forward to Trine 2. And seeing how this series continues to grow and evolve over time here. So, it's neat. It's cool.
Yeah.
I played the wizard, by the way. I should probably mention. That was drawing boxes and bridges and triangles and stuff. Not fighting any skeletons, because it took me too long to draw a box and drop it on a skeleton's head. We've all been there.
Boxes are hard.
Yeah, when it eventually got to the point where they're like, you can now draw triangles, and I'm like, it's okay. I know how to draw a box and a triangle, but can I regularly do either one of those? Nope. Drawing a lot of boxes.
You would think having one less edge would be helpful.
Nope. Just drawing a lot of boxes when I didn't need to. Yeah. So, next up, Dredge. I finished the
Did
platinum.
You finish this like 4 times?
No, so I finished the platinum, which I wasn't expecting to do this early. I was just out trying to wrap up. I wanted to, before I go into the last DLC pack, the Pale Reach, I wanted to catch all of the fish except for the exotic aberrations, and all of the aberrations I could before I went into that. And somewhere along the way, I caught enough to get the platinum. So I have the platinum, and I have all of the trophies for the Iron Rig, which is the DLC I just finished. So I got into the zone for the Pale Reach and talked to the shopkeeper there, and she gave me some quests to begin that area of like, go find the pieces for the icebreaker, and now you can break ice. And I was like, yeah, all right, sure, that makes sense. And I'm like a frozen area. And then I've been playing all this other stuff this week that I haven't returned back to that quite yet. But it seems like that DLC isn't super long either. So I'm not expecting to be spending too much more time in there. But Dredge is great. I'm gonna keep saying that. Dredge is super cool. So I want to keep clipping away with that.
One day I'm gonna pick it up.
Yeah, it's very.
It's always been one of those. It's always been one of those things where it's on a list.
Right.
But now listening to you really talk about it, I'm like, man, that does sound way up my alley right now.
It's real cool. It's fun. I like it. The Castlevania Dominus collection. I played a little bit more of Dawn of Sorrow. I am surprised at how little I remember of this game. So I'm happy that I'm going through this and playing this again, because I don't remember any of this stuff at all, which has been a whole lot of fun. And I just beat a bunch of bosses sort of back to back. I beat the 2 Dark Lord candidates, the 2 humans that came along, and I beat a giant boss that stood on 2 legs and fell through the floor 7 or 8 stories. I didn't remember that boss at all. I fought a boss that stopped time, and I was just like, all right, yeah, these are real cool Castlevania bosses. Also fought if you remember from Symphony of the Night, there's that bird lady who has big black raven wings and shoots birds at you. You just fight that again. I was like, yeah, you know what? Cool. That's a cool boss. You should put it in more of these games. That's a good call.
It's a common enemy now. Go for it.
Yeah. So not a lot to talk about here. I have been using exclusively what I've been calling the QTE version of the boss spell drawing. I like how you can do it with the right stick, but I was having trouble drawing it while I was trying to I had an easier time on the DS when you could just draw the shape and be done with it.
Yeah.
But I was having a hard time remembering how to draw the shape and getting the left and right sides of my brain to draw it with the right stick. Is way easier for me just to say okay, it's L1 square triangle circle, R1 triangle square. Okay, that one's done. So it's cool. They did a really cool job on this. I like this one a lot. I'm really excited to play the other 2. I am a little bit bummed though that in the other collections they've had some really interesting trophies, but this one is really just you get a trophy for killing each one of the bosses, and then you get a trophy for playing the game through on the whatever other mode the game has, and that's really it. It's not it's nothing get all the souls or complete the map at 200 whatever percent. It doesn't have any of those, which is, fine, because it's probably a little bit more likely I'll get the platinum, but it's just a little bit of a bummer that there's nothing kind of more interesting there. So
I'm actually curious, watching this video, does resetting the time, it looks like, reset the RNG too?
I don't use the rewind feature. So the interesting thing about the game is if you hit L2, it just pulls up a menu of you can see the compendium, you can get, there's a little bit of a guide, you can change the screen orientation, you can change what the border looks like and things like that.
Yeah.
But if you hold L2 and then use the left and right on the D-pad, you can rewind and fast forward. And I haven't used it at all, really, because most of the times when I die, I'm like, okay, I was doing something really dumb. I should lose a little bit of progress and go back to the safe spot and try again, because whatever I was doing, I should not be in this area or doing whatever at that point. So watching this person continually rewind to farm souls is me sort of remembering oh yeah, that stuff is a little bit rough in this game if you were trying to get a secret, or you're trying to fill out the bestiary or whatever, but I'm probably not going to be doing that. So
no, but if the rewind feature helps for that, hey, it's better than what the alternative was.
Yeah,
saves you a couple seconds.
Someone who knows more about these games will probably know that somewhere on Reddit or whatever, but it's a cool feature to have in there. So Okay. Next game here, a brand new game called Arco, Arco. I was looking for something, realized I haven't been playing a lot of RPGs, and we were recording Picking Up with the Pixels. And I have been seeing this everywhere on Twitter and Blue Sky of people that play a lot of RPGs and they write for sites like RPG Gamer or RPG Site, plenty of places like that, or they play and review indie games were saying, hey, this is one of the best releases of 2024 and nobody is playing it. You should go play it and, of course, review it on Steam. It's available on Steam and Switch. I didn't buy it on Switch because I don't see this being a very demanding game of the Switch, but I'm kind of over-trusting the Switch to run anything well. So I bought it on PC. I'm playing it through my Steam link. This game's really interesting because it is a Mesoamerican turn-based RPG that has action RPG stuff at the same time. So it takes place in the American Southwest, largely. And I've played through the first chapter, which is largely your tutorial chapter. You get introduced to the people of the area, get introduced to your main character. I am surprised. This game didn't really pull any punches with its story. Your character dies horribly at the end of the first chapter, and I was like, oh, okay. Cool, sure. And I will recommend this game so far because it seems really cool. The game starts talking about, the choices you make in this game really do matter. If you're going to pick this game up, I'm going to recommend stick with the tutorial a little bit. The tutorial is hard. The gameplay is really interesting because it's technically a turn-based RPG, but it's not a grid-based one like we normally see. You do have free movement, but you can only move so far every time you take a movement action. And one of the more interesting things is when you go to take a movement action, it just draws a line from your character, and that's as far as you can move, and you can kind of move it anywhere you want. You have sort of free 360-degree movement. And when you start planning out your movement, you can see where the enemy is going to move to. So if they're getting an attack ready, or they're just kind of moving closer to you, you'll have a better idea of how that's going to go. The tutorial is really rough, and it makes sense why later. It doesn't allow you to take a hit at all during the tutorial. And that's because your character, at least in the intro thing, just doesn't have any health. So a lot of it is you need to dodge these attacks. You need to try and hit and interrupt the enemy. You need to kind of like hit them and then run away and try and wait until they get to a good point for you to hit them and run away. One of the more interesting things about this game that is taking me a little bit longer than expected to get used to is when you have your movement line, after you draw it, if you hold the A button, I'm playing on controller, you hold the A button on your controller, you can bend the movement path that you're going to take. So instead of heading directly towards the enemy, if they're going to shoot at you, you can kind of take like a long bending movement towards them to try and avoid the shots that they're going to take on you, and
lazily list to the left.
Yeah, and kind of like go out and around to try and get around their shots and then get close enough to them to try and hit them. So it's kind of neat. The story so far has been pretty interesting of you and your family taking this big trip to go see the sacred tree, and when you get a couple of days out, someone sees strangers near the tree that you don't know anything about, and of course, under the cover of darkness, you go and you go see the tree anyways, and you get caught by the strangers that turn out to be people who are secretly and seemingly illegally drilling oil, and they catch you and not only take you out, but take out your entire village that's around as well to try and silence you. And that's where the chapter ends, with like you and your whole troop getting taken out, and
cool.
In a way that was pretty surprising, because I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna play as this cool dude the entire time, no big deal. And I was like, oh no, I totally died. All right, that's the end of chapter 1. Okay, sure. And the end of chapter screen is really great because it has 2 options of continue or take a break, which I thought was really great. I chose to take a break because I'm like, okay, that was a little intense here for kind of a tutorial chapter. So I'm really excited to get back into this. It has a really cool style. The writing so far is really strong. The soundtrack is really good, and I like this idea of playing an RPG that you're kind of flipping between this more action-based movement and then kind of planting yourself and taking a turn and then having this action movement. I haven't really seen this in anything for quite a while, and I think so far it makes for a really cool game that I'm really only scratching the surface here, but I'm curious to see how far they take this whole system, this whole mechanic. So that's
Cool.
Arco. I'm hoping to play it more often. I'm playing this on PC. It runs really great even through the Steam Link. I haven't heard any complaints about the Switch version so far, but wanted to remind everybody too, if you buy something on Steam and you like it, please give them a review. That helps developers of all sizes, but especially indie developers. So last game here, but certainly most important, Astrobot. Astrobot came out.
No.
Here
Can we skip this section?
No.
Please? Let me skip it because I want to play it really bad. Like really bad.
Astrobot is really good. I have seen people likening this to saying it is Super Mario Galaxy 3, and that's a pretty apt comparison. I think that one of the biggest strengths of this game so far has been, look, it's super charming. It's really great to play. It looks incredible. It uses the controller really well, like Astro's Playroom did. I think one of the strengths is it plays exactly the same way that Astro's Playroom did. So if you played that, which you should have, and if you haven't played Astro's Playroom, it's like maybe a handful of hours long. You really should go play it. It's incredible. You can pick this game up right away and just get in it. It has a lot of the same enemies. It has the exact same controls. It has the exact same, like, 3 movements that the previous game did, where it's just like jump, you have your little like laser jet things, you have the spinning attack, and that's about it. But the thing that this game changes is, in a lot of the levels, you're getting a little like backpack robot buddy that's doing a bunch of different stuff for you. Like you're getting one level I just played recently, you got like a robot elephant on the back of you that you can use to slurp up stuff to turn into stationary or bouncing platforms underneath you.
Okay.
So you can see this like big, wide, gaping jump in front of you, and you're like, I don't know how to do this. But all of a sudden, you have a bunch of extra platforms you can make underneath you while you're doing this. It controls incredibly well. It's delightful to play it the entire time. So far, it hasn't really been the most difficult game. There are a couple of levels that I'm finding kind of secret levels that are a little bit more challenging. You know, kind of the usual Mario stuff you have. Where like, this game is pretty easy, and it's like, okay, here's a whole secret world for you, buddy. And it's like, oh no, okay, these levels are for real. Cool, okay. Each level has a whole bunch of hidden and unlockable stuff. A lot of levels have 7 little robots, sort of like Astrobot friends that you can rescue. Not all of them are PlayStation references. You know, if there's 7 of them in a level, maybe 2 of them will be PlayStation characters. And I've run into a whole bunch of characters from a myriad of games so far. I think one of the things that I am pleasantly surprised about is this game isn't in love with the PlayStation, like the memory of PlayStation and PlayStation characters in as much as I thought it was going to be. Like, none of the bosses so far are like, you're fighting a PlayStation character. You're fighting some sort of PlayStation reference. It's largely been, hey, I fought a giant gorilla. That was an incredibly cool boss fight. I fought a giant octopus, which was an even better boss fight. It's not like, oh, I'm fighting a giant PS2 with eyes on it or anything like that, which I think has been pretty surprising, because that was so much of I think that the appeal and the pushback on Astro's Playroom is a lot of like, this really is like a love letter to PlayStation in a way that maybe feels a little bit weird, but I think this one, it's only relegated to the bots you pick up, and then when you go do the gotcha machine like you did in Astro's Playroom, which I will clarify, you only use in-game currency, is not real money. Okay, when you go to the crash site, so the intro of this game, let me rewind. It's really hot in here, so my brain isn't working. Apologies. You crash land you find out that maybe I'm dumb. I didn't realize this. Astro's Playroom takes place inside of a PS5, and the like side wings of the PS5 get torn off as you're flying through space, and the PS5 crash lands, and you kind of lose all of your robot friends, and you lose all the like the SSD and the RAM and the GPU and all that stuff that you played in Astro's Playroom. You lose all that stuff, and this game is really just, hey, I'm recovering all that stuff. When you crash land, any robots that you rescue live there at the crash site, and there are 305 robots, I think it is. It's over 300 robots for you to collect, and the more of them that you collect, the more stuff you can do in that crash site. So it's a lot of like, you need 20 robots here, and they'll build a bridge. You can go across it and get a puzzle piece. Or you need 50 of them. They're going to make a ladder. You climb them. You can get another robot buddy. Okay. And when you get PlayStation characters, they go in that crash site, and they have the little gotcha ball hanging out above their head. What I found out is when you get their their thing out of the gotcha machine, it gives them a little accessory that then when you go in the crash site and you punch them, they do like a little video game thing. Like you get Gray Fox from Metal Gear Solid. You get his like vibro sword or whatever that thing is called.
Yeah.
When he gets that in the crash site, he's invisible now, and you punch him and he like drops it, and he does like a little Gray Fox movement, and then he cloaks himself again. Like one of my favorite ones so far has been Psycho Manus. He's sitting on top of a TV and that has a PS1 connected to it, and the controller is vibrating. And and when you punch it, he gets down. He like the TV says the like Hideo stuff, and then he taps the TV on the side of it, and it clears back up. It shows like a Astrobot version of MGS1, and then he hops back on the TV and does spooky stuff.
Quick question. You said he has a PlayStation 1 in front of him, and its controller is vibrating. Please tell me that controller is plugged into port 2.
Oh, no, because it's when he did the vibrating, that was port 1, and then when you fight him, it was port 2. So that one isn't in port 2, but it's all stuff like that of like Amaterasu like has a little torii gate next to her, and like she does a howl and like circles around it, and a bunch of flowers pop up. So it's been a lot of like, oh, I got Claire Redfield and I don't have her little gotcha thing. What is she going to do? Is she going to get like a motorcycle or something? So it's been kind of fun to get that, but it's been kind of fun to see, so much of Astro's Playroom was like, you rescued a PS4 Pro. Good job. You can look at it in extreme detail. It's like, okay, sure, I guess. But so much of this game so far has been, you're going to a galaxy. The galaxy has like 5 levels and a boss planet, but it also has like 3 hidden levels that you can find in there, and then whoops, one of those hidden levels spawned 4 additional hidden levels, and each one of those has a bunch of robots in it, a bunch of like increasingly harder puzzles.
Nice.
The one thing I don't want to spoil is every time you beat a boss, you get an additional level on that map that is you doing the gameplay as Astrobot of a famous PlayStation game. I have unlocked 2 of those so far. I certainly wasn't expecting either one of those, and both of them were really, really, really cool. I wish I had more to talk about this game, but so much of it is, this is just a really great 3D platformer that has way more stuff in it than I was expecting it to have. Because so much of it is just, hey, I'm unlocking more and more and more stuff in this game, and every time I turn around, oh, here's a hidden exit out of this level, and all right, I just unlocked another secret level, or I crashed into an asteroid on this like planet map. I just unlocked a level that unlocked a bunch more levels. It's really cool. It's really good. I unfortunately had to wait until I got my kid really excited for this, so I had to wait until she got home and finished her homework on Friday before I could start it. I'm just like itching that whole day of like, it's just on my PS5. I could just play it, man. It's so
just restart the level. It's fine. She doesn't have to know.
I just won't even tell her. And I was like, no, I should be better than that. But yeah, this is just, it's really cool in the way that you want it to be, which is just Astro's Playroom. And like, I never played Rescue Mission because I never had a PSVR. But like, it is Astro's Playroom, just full size. It's just a full game of that with way more mechanics, way more cool stuff. But the basics of it are all exactly the same as it was before, which I feel like for a lot of games would be like, ugh, here we go. All right, they just made like a bigger version of that. And it's like, cool. One of the, like, we have Super Mario Brothers Wonder, which is an incredible platformer. It's like, oh no, more Mario. Oh, what a shame. It's like, these are things that are exciting. Like, cool, I get a brand new mainline Mario game. Cool, I get a brand new Astro, like an Astrobot game. Incredible. Like, these are good things. You took a cool game and you made a bigger version of that. That's great. So.
There is that whole thing in professional wrestling where it's like competition breeds innovation. WWE was never as great as they were during the Attitude Era because WCW was there. WWE has got a lot better now because AEW is there.
Right.
Video games, quote unquote, are inspired by each other constantly.
Yep.
What do you think this throws on Nintendo's shoulders to be like, yo, this is what we got, let's see what you got? Because you know they're going to be working on a 3D Mario for whatever the next iteration of the Switch is.
Yeah, for whatever Switch 2 is. I don't know, because I feel like part of the thing that is impressive and fun about Astrobot is it's not really reinventing the genre. It's just
executing incredibly.
Yeah, it's just executing like so far perfectly. And I think we get so few of these games in kind of there are plenty of indie like 3D platformers that are being made. And that's not really the point, but like so much of it is like this is a Sony-backed AAA, like $60 platformer, $50 or whatever. Like we don't get a lot of those anymore, and it's cool to just see something on the quality level of like a mainline Mario game, because Microsoft isn't making them. Psychonauts 2 is probably the last thing they made, and who the hell knows what Double Fine is working on at any point. So like we don't really see a lot of these outside of Nintendo, so it's neat to see anybody else making them, and for it to be this well done and this high quality is really, really exciting. And it's just I'm sure the internet dummies out there are already like scrambling about something to drag this game down, but this game, it's just fun. Like it's one of those games is like, you know what, I'm having a lot of fun. I'm laughing a lot with this game. Every time they introduce something new, I'm either surprised or delighted, or I can't believe that they're doing something cool like this. Like it's one of those games that I'm just having fun with, and we don't always get a lot of those. So
I would love to see Nintendo take this tact. Like, give me a history of the Nintendo franchises.
Sure, yeah.
Like, give me the love letter to the SNES, to the old Nintendo card games. Give me that whole thing in a Nintendo game. But the most impressive thing about this game to me, and I don't know if it's been 100% confirmed, is it was a 3-year dev cycle with 60 people.
It was, yep. And a lot of, like...
From minimal crunch and a whole bunch of other really positive feedback.
Yeah, and a lot of what the credit that Team Asobi gives for their success for this stuff is, yeah, we don't lay people off. This sounds crazy, but like we can like
it's almost as if like having like knowledge of the genre that you like to work on, or the engine that you build or whatever,
and like
you're
a
doing
team that
is
works
useful.
well together. I mean, we saw that earlier this year with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Like, they pumped out a game that's like 5 times bigger than Remake in way less time, because it's the same team working with the same engine, working with the same producers, etc., and they're just cranking stuff out. Like, people can do this. Just like the industry needs to be better about how it runs itself, and you can make cool stuff more often.
But it's got to have a bug or something, right? Like it blew up your PS5 or something.
No, there's
crashes.
There's free DLC coming at some point that's going to be speed running with
no,
leaderboards. Like,
yep.
There's just like it's one of those things where it's like, okay, cool. Like
if you haven't, by the way, you should totally go listen to the remap interview that Patrick Klepek did with these devs when the game was announced. Because they talk about like in Astro's Playroom, not once did you ever have to do the hover jump, for example. Nobody knows that. But not a single time in Astro's Playroom did you ever have to actually do the hover jump. You could make every single jump with just a regular jump.
Man,
that's
cool.
And how they wanted Astro's Playroom to be playable by like anybody,
literally anybody. Yeah,
anybody could play it. Whereas with this game, they were like, okay, so we want, let's say, up to a 5-year-old to make it through World 1. And then we want up to, like, maybe a 6-year-old skill level to make it through World 2. And that's how they got it to slow escalate further and further. It's a really great interview.
That sounds really cool. I'm going to have to check that out. Yeah. And, like, a lot of it feels very much like if you're a kid that's playing this game, yeah, you can like blow through this game pretty easily and, you know, see all of the cool stuff and maybe find a secret or two. But if you're like us and you want to get all of the characters and unlock all the areas and get all the puzzle pieces and all that stuff, like you're gonna find a pretty cool game that has a surprising amount of challenge in a lot of these areas. So it's cool. Nice. I'm really excited to keep playing it. I'm excited to, like, I'll get the platinum, of course, but like even if there wasn't a platinum, I'd be 100%ing this game because it just, everything in here is really just a blast. So it's great. Cool. I really love it. I want to keep playing more of it. But that's all I've been playing this week. Let's take a break.
All right. I'm going to go on a bio break real quick.
All right.
I have a cat trying to break down my door, but I'm just going to ignore her and pretend that I don't hear it.
I'm a cat.
You know the fluffy thing, the draft excluder that sits across the bottom of doors? She tore that off.
Of course. So now she's got her little grubby mitts underneath the door.
And now she can get right under there, get a good grip, and just shake the shit out of that thing.
Pay attention to me. Oh, man. Okay. Let's make sure we got everything. I'll pull up my show notes here. Trying to see if Star Trucker is on PlayStation platforms yet, and the answer is not yet. We're a small team. It's like, okay. Fair enough. Respect it. What else do we have here? I was going to look up news stories here, but we already have enough, and this episode is going triple long.
Did you see the amount of the Australian breakdancer people that showed up at the Comic-Con recently?
No. Really?
You should totally Google Comic-Con Australian breakdancer or whatever. Because it's, like, ridiculous.
That's pretty great. I really like that when people were interviewing her after the Olympics, she's like, yeah, man, I got to go to the Olympics. Who cares? I had a blast. I was representing my country. It was a great time.
Yeah, a lot going on behind the scenes there that I'm not 100% sure I'm a fan of, though.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. There was a judging group. Her husband was in charge of it.
Oh, okay. Oh, like because she got picked to
represent the country.
The country. Oh, okay, I thought you were talking about the judges at the Olympics. Yeah,
nope.
I mean that's got to happen pretty frequently.
It probably
right?
happens a lot, and hopefully, if this is just one slight peek in the door of, yo, it's probably corrupt as hell, dog.
Yep.
Y'all should maybe, investigate everybody who's running something like this. Yeah, it's Dragon Con. You should check
Dragon
out.
Con.
Yes. It's literally just a stand of people. It's hilarious.
Let me see if I can find
And the thing that makes me laugh about the whole thing is like seeing the Paralympics breakdancing competition, and it's just like, really?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you haven't seen the Paralympics breakdancers, they're really good.
The thing that I've been really happy with is seeing all the Paralympics competitors that are saying like, hey, Paris really showed up for the Paralympics. Like what they were worried about, people going to the Olympics and then just being like...
It happens all the time. The Paralympics are abandoned because they're right after the Olympics.
Yeah, they're like 3 weeks after the Olympics, and they're packed, man.
Mm-hmm. Did see there was I can't remember where it was, but there was a dude who like gave there was cameras on him as he gave a motivational speech from the stands to his partner who was an Olympian.
Mm.
And she made the jump of a life or whatever it was, won the gold. Turns out he's a Paralympian and he won the gold in his event too. So it's like it's a double shot of him cheering her on and her being like close to him when she wins the gold, and it's the flip of that where she's in the crowd and he's winning the gold.
That's great. All right, you guys ready for the rest of this thing?
Yep.
Probably with the quickness.
Whatever. I just ate another piece of banana bread, and I still can't taste a thing, but the rest of my family says it's fine.
Yeah, that's on you, dude.
Yeah. I guess.
Yeah. All right. Starting in 3, 2, 1. Let's talk releases for the week of September 9th, 2024. Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2 comes out PS5 series consoles and PC. I don't know, man. This game looks pretty cool.
I've heard
it's chunky boy season.
Yeah. I'm not the biggest Warhammer dude, but like this game looks pretty cool. People seem pretty pumped about this game coming out. People really like the first one, right? It was well received.
Yeah, I honestly don't know.
It bombed because it didn't sell nothing, but everybody who played it was like, yo, this is actually really, really good. And it was also in the season of let's put a multiplayer in when it doesn't need it, I believe.
Yeah. Because this came out on the 360 PS3 era, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, so people seem to be pretty pumped about this. I'm sure we'll see, check your favorite YouTuber or streamer this week, because it seems like literally everybody is pumped to play it. So
I have seen literal hordes of things rushing at people who have been playing this.
Oh, nice.
And it's kind of looking really cool.
It's exciting.
I think it's 2 or 3 player co-op. I think it might be 2.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And the devs were like, yeah, we couldn't put, if it's 3, then it's 4. If it's 2, then it's 3. But whatever. They were like,
right.
We couldn't put anybody else in there because if you're playing as, that amount of Space Marines, then nothing's going to stop you. So there's no threat.
Yeah.
Love it. Oh, man. Also coming out this week, The Elder Scrolls Castles for iOS and Android. Hey, did you like Fallout Shelter? That's this for Elder Scrolls.
I saw this pop up, and I was going to tell my wife about it, but then I couldn't figure out. The thing I was seeing wasn't really showing a whole lot.
Yeah, it's been hard to find. The weird thing about these, as someone who reports on video game releases, if you're putting out a mobile game, please just release a gameplay trailer, even if it's only 30 seconds. Stop releasing, it's a big CG trailer for this upcoming blah, blah, blah. I don't know what it looks like.
But that is how they get you to then make an ad based on how the ad is not the actual game.
Right, and how the ad makes
somebody to
angry.
Play the
I could
game.
play this better.
Are we back to original box art of video games for mobile?
100%.
It's like, look at this cool box art, and
That's
then
right.
it's just squares and beep boops.
Right.
There is literally ads about how the game is like the ad. That's how bad it's got.
Yeah, actual gameplay. It's like, oh boy. Yeah, so it looks like it's largely that. I'm sure it has some improvements over and above Fallout Shelter, but you kind of get the idea of what that is at this point. So it looks fine. I'll probably check it out at some point. I liked Fallout Shelter.
I'm good. I don't need another one of those in my life.
Yeah, that's true. I should protect myself. Yeah. Next game here, Elsie, comes out for PS5, Switch, and PC. This is a fast-paced, they call it a Technicolor hyperkinetic roguelike action platformer. So this looks pretty cool. I feel like we see a ton of kind of roguelike platformers here, but it's nice to see more ones.
No, it's almost like we do a show based on them.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like we like them or something. So LC looks pretty neat. It looks like this is another game that I wish the trailer kind of made it a little bit clearer what makes this different from other games like that, but I couldn't really find. And look, we're just talking about Astrobot. If this game is kind of just a really cool controlling pixel art platformer with randomized stuff, great. That's fine by me, but you could say that's fine. Next game here, Vampire the Masquerade Reckoning of New York comes out PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series Console, Switch, and PC. Hey Moon. It's the third Coteries of New York game.
Wow, that's a shame. If only I didn't absolutely despise the ending of the first one.
People seem to really like the second one.
I don't care.
Which I haven't played.
They Breaking Dawned that first game, so I'm good. I'm out.
If anyone hasn't listened to
reference.
Our Game Club episode for our Coteries of New York, where we liked 95% of that game a lot, and really hated the last 5% of that game. I'm deathly curious about this game because it looks like their art style has improved pretty significantly. I'm deathly curious to see, are they going to do, apparently they didn't do that in the second one. Is the siren song too strong of you just doing that another time here? So hopefully not. So that's
Reckoning. I'm fine waiting forever until the Masquerade 2 comes out.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I still get emails from them.
Forever being the key word.
I still get emails from them about like, hey man, here's how the game's progressing, and I was like, okay, cool. I know you're still working on it. That's good. Just keep doing your thing. Game I'm personally looking forward to a lot: Caravan Sandwich, and that's not like sandwich the thing you pick up and eat. It's like a witch that works in the sand. This comes out on PS5, Switch, and PC.
Bene Gesserit, one might say.
Yes. I hate you so much. Yeah. Yes, the Dune tie-in we never knew we needed. Yeah. Thank you so much. I've been looking forward to this for a really long time because they've been really upfront about this at the beginning, that there is no combat, no death, no timer. It's just a storyline thing where you have this yellow van in this huge desert expanse. You're exploring, you're puzzle solving, you're doing some story stuff. And it's really focused on that without doing any combat stuff. So this is a day one purchase for me. Hopefully I'll be able to find some time to play it this week. So check it out next week. Next up here, Lollipop Chainsaw Repop comes out. PS5, Series Console, Switch, and PC. This is a remaster of the original Lollipop Chainsaw, which is interesting. Not content-wise, but they really, in so much of the footage they've released for this game, they really messed this one up, man. Like, it's one of those releases like Silent Hill where it's just like, oh, you just removed all the lighting and the style from this game. They say that there's like an original mode in here that you can select, but I feel like if you put out Lollipop Chainsaw and you sort of remove the comic book part of it, you're removing a lot of the game.
It's almost like making Borderlands, but make it like Call of Duty.
Yeah. So, I don't know, man. I never played Lollipop Chainsaw, even though I really wanted to, because I feel like I didn't find
It's a solid action game. Like, it's a solid character action game.
And I didn't find out until way too late that it was really tongue-in-cheek. And I was like, oh yeah. Okay, I probably would have really enjoyed that if it was more focused on, like, being weird about it, so...
It's good news for you. They have a remake just for you.
It's so great. It looks so good. Yeah, I don't really want to like poo-poo a lot of games that are out there or like developers or whatever, but I feel like the stuff that I've seen from people that have a lot of love for Lollipop Chainsaw, a lot of the stuff that they're saying and seeing is like, no, you kind of missed the mark on this one. So. It's a bummer.
So is this still Suda 51?
No, some other team did
nothing to do with it.
Okay.
I have to ask because it's something that we like to do here. I don't think Repop ranks anywhere close to good names for remasters.
Oh yeah, like Remastered Edition.
Yeah, the remastered, the Deathfinitive Edition.
Deathfinitive Edition. Yeah, Repop is like you gotta come up.
It's garbage. You could do better.
She has
that
dude's head that is carrying around with her, like
Johnny.
Yeah, make a pun about that, like something like that.
Like Repop is just garbage. Like go away from me with that.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
What? You'll never hear me say this again. But where is your marketing team?
That's right. That's right. Market to me, please. Yeah, it's I don't know. It's weird. Next game up here, Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection Arcade Classics comes out on PS4, Switch, and PC. This is X-Men vs. Street Fighter, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, The Punisher, X-Men Children of Adam, Marvel vs. Capcom 1 as well, and something else. It's got a whole bunch of games in here that look like they are really, really well preserved and really well done. And Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is really great. That game is... I spent so much time in college playing that game. Like, way too much, one might argue. But not me.
I'm the Juggernaut.
That's right. Berserker Claw. Though this is a really cool collection. I will once again suggest that if you're interested in this, maybe purchase a physical copy of this, since licensing is always a real problem with this stuff. And I think I pre-ordered a physical copy of this for like $35 or something. It's really not super expensive. So this is cool. I like this. This is neat. 2 thumbs up. Next game here coming out that I totally forgot about. Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown comes out. PS5, Series consoles, and PC.
Let me just take my headphones off real quick while you just talk about this new
crew-like
crew-like video game.
But if you get it now, you can start doing the achievements and not have to cram it all in when they shut down the servers in 6 months.
Yeah, you get plenty of... That's your early access period.
Except for that, my friends, you know who you are, disappointed me and never actually played it with me.
That's right.
Hold on. I'm actually going to pull up the achievement list and see how bad it is.
They say in this they have accurately mapped Hong Kong to a 1-to-1 scale, which I'm sure we'll find out here fairly soon.
And that thing looks beautiful, dude.
It's really good. With all the rumors of Forza Horizon 5 coming to PS5, I keep looking at like this game and what was the most recent crew game, the Hawaii one?
I don't know, Backyard Brawl or something like that.
Yeah, whatever that one. I'm like, man, I could play a racing game right now. Yeah, I don't have time to. But yeah, Motorfest. Thank you, Apocalypse, in chat. The crew Motorfest. I'd be like, yeah, I could play one of these that's like really trying to capture the lightning in a bottle that Forza Horizon does and never managed to. So they're kind of fine and okay-ish. I don't know, man.
But hang on, can I put an anime girl livery on my 1985 Wolfsbarrels Scirocco?
I mean, that's the real question, and I'm not sure I could answer that for you quite yet. But one
there
can
is
hope.
Dealerships, gas stations, workshops, and clan HQs. And if one of those clans isn't a weeaboo clan, then they've done something wrong.
We've failed the open world racing games. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I really would like a good racing game.
Yep.
I would like a good racing game to play with my friends.
Yep.
TDU is widely regarded as a legend of the industry of the racing industry.
Mm-hmm.
It's $60. It's not $70.
Oh, interesting. I don't know. I'll put this on the old wish list. I'll see. I don't have time to play it right now because like all the other 2024 games that I'm buried under. Also, we haven't hit...
I'm not even playing 2024 games. My Game of the Year list is going to be the best of 1992, apparently.
Perfect. I love it. Mine is going to be, hey, JRPGs happened this year, and whoops, JRPGs happened again in November. Oh, God. Yeah. Anyways, next game here, Wild Bastards comes out on PS5, Series Console, Switch, and PC. Please don't delist us. That's just the name of the game. It is a spiritual successor to Void Bastards, which is a game that Moon and I kind of liked for most of its time.
You liked a lot more than I did.
Yeah. It very clearly does away on the map here. It goes to more of a exploration FTL style rather than the diving down the layers that the Void had. So Wild seems like it's largely the same thing, but maybe a bit more open areas. My big question is, are you rehydrating people? Because if not, I'm going to be pretty disappointed.
Part. Yeah, that was the funniest part about the last game, was just like, hey, here's a packet with a person in it. Let me just rehydrate them real quick.
It's so good. The humor in that game, really very good. So I don't know. I haven't really. I try to keep kind of a half an eye on kind of big roguelikes that are coming out. I haven't really seen too many people talking about this one, so I'm curious to see how this is going to turn out in the end. So we'll keep an eye out on this one for, at the very least, for We Roguelike It, but I'm curious to see where this one ends up. Last release here, Persona 3 Reload Episode Igus comes out PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series consoles, and PC. This is so Persona 3 infamously had an expansion on it called The Answer when that was released. It's I don't want to spoil the ending of Persona 3, but it kind of takes place in the middle of Persona 3, and you, in the original game at least, you do an unbearable amount of dungeon crawling to get mere morsels of storyline, and there are a surprising amount of The Answer defenders out there. I'm here to tell you, The Answer was bad. So I am curious to see what they're going to do to this to improve it. Early reports seem to say not a whole lot, which is disappointing to say the least. And also, Musim reminded me on Pup the other day that this is part of the whatever pass, like content pass, expansion pass, or whatever they released for Persona 3, which just pisses me off all over again. Stop doing
Oh, yeah.
Stop doing that. So it does not look like you can buy this separately. It looks like you have to get it as part of the expansion pass, which sucks. That sucks a lot. Stop doing that to any games, but especially single-player JRPGs. Stop it. Hit Atlas with the rolled up newspaper, please. So that's Persona 3 Reload Episode Igus coming out this week. We do have 2 news stories here this week. The first one is probably one of the most surprising news stories of 2024. Sony is shutting down Concord. And
did you say one of the most surprising or least surprising?
Well, both. But they're shutting down Concord and refunding all buyers. They made this announcement after Concord had been out for 8 days. The
TTDG, time to dead game.
The surprising thing here isn't that Concord didn't make it. I think, again, I'm not here to like crap talk any developers or whatever. The game just didn't impress for most people at any point when it was in beta or they were showing off trailers for it. It was at State of Play or whatever.
So, like, yeah. the part for me, and as I've actually seen a bunch of like people doing reactions to it too, like when this thing got announced, like for the announcement trailer, I was like, okay, this looks interesting. And then the longer the trailer went on, my immediate response was, this better not be like a PvP hero shooter, because like I just can't, like I just
right, like, because they opened with the style and like the story of that original trailer.
Yeah, and then they were like, yeah, it's a hero based PvP shooter, and I was like, well,
and it's $40. Like it just, and honestly, Overwatch can't even make it in this market. Concord absolutely can't.
Overwatch 2 definitely can't.
Right, like Overwatch 2 is struggling, and Concord just... And people are out there on the internet saying, like, well, people really loved it. That's great. I'm happy that a lot of people loved it. Estimates from Simon Carlis...
this first line that you're probably going to read in a second is one of what it's a rough line to read, dude.
This is why refunds are happening. Game Discover Co. analyst Simon Carlos told IGN last week, and Circana analyst Matt Piscatella have sort of said that they're estimating around 25,000 total sales across PS5 and PC. Forgot this came out on PC. Matt Piscatella says that's about 0.2% of active PS5 players purchased and were playing Concord. So, like, I think you could see the reaction to this game immediately and say, like, okay, cool. This game is not going to find an audience. It's really not going to find traction. Certainly not in the way that Helldivers 2 did, where it's like, we don't have battle passes, but we're $40, so, like, you have that. But for them to just, like, stop the game after a little over 2 weeks and refund everybody who bought it is wild.
True, but also at the same time, isn't this the former Sony CEO who retired? I can't remember his name now.
Mm-hmm.
He was the one who was all about, let's push into live service games because live service games are the consistent money maker.
Right.
Because Sony's primary model is, here is a $200 million AAA single player game that will make its money back and then hopefully enough to help fund the next one, essentially.
And you release it on PC 18 to 24 months later and you recoup more of it. Excuse me, more than that cost.
And then live service games would help fill those gaps.
For sure. That's why they bought Bungie.
As far as I know, they don't have any more single-player games coming out right now for the foreseeable future, probably until the next gen of PlayStation.
Right.
Well, Last of Us is out. They've got Wolverine, which is just a trailer at this point, so that ain't this gen.
Yep.
Like,
Spider-Man 3
is... got.
Sorry, 4 will be ways off. Yeah.
They don't have anything else like that, and it made sense when he, like you said, that's why they bought Bungie. That's why they went down this path. For me, this stinks of, hey, let's not do that live service thing anymore because it's probably a bad idea, and it was probably a bad idea at the time.
Well, and
only 2 or 3 live service games make it, and then on top of that, my groceries are $200 a week now. I can't afford new games.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm sure I'm not the only one. I'm sure that's everybody.
Yeah, it's everybody, but also, like, this game had an 8-year development cycle. Like, Sony bought him 6 years ago, and it's just like, you would have missed the mark 6 years ago. And, like, I understand where Sony is coming from, that, like, we need to stop the bleeding now. Nobody wants to buy this game. Nobody wants to play this game. It's got, like, zero traction. Let's just pull it off the market. Sort of like Multiverses did, where it's like, we need to, like, retool so much of this. We're going to pull it, even though people really like Multiverses. Like, they need to retool this as a free-to-play game.
I was going to say, that's the rumors I'm hearing is
that has to be there's only two pathways. Only solution. The two pathways are, it's dead forever, or it comes back in a year and a half, and it has free-to-play model with all the store and the battle passes and the banners and all that stuff. Those are the only two pathways.
Oh.
So, like, you have to put the tourniquet on and stop the bleeding.
Yeah. I'm not a huge fan of... I'm not a fan, period, of layoffs and closures and everything else.
Yeah.
But when Microsoft buys Activision Blizzard, and then they go to Blizzard and they close that studio down that's been working on a quote-unquote survival game for 6 years.
Right.
That we've not even seen a trailer for. It's like, yeah, I get it.
It's not happening.
No, like, there is something wrong at the core level there.
Right.
So maybe send them elsewhere and do things. I hate Ubisoft, but one of my favorite things about Ubisoft is you never really hear about Ubisoft closures, because they have, like, that secret warehouse that they store people between projects, essentially.
And their cryo tanks.
Yeah, they have like a team that's not working on anything, who like, when your team gets minimized after a big job, they'll just move you to essentially this warehouse,
right,
where you can do little helping bits, but nothing major. Sure. And then when they have
now
another
you're making
thing,
Skull and Bones seasons. No.
Yeah. Then they'll send whoever they need from that warehouse to the next team to help build up that team's thing.
I need
Like,
Strike
that's a
Team
smart
Delta to
decision.
help with Assassin's Creed Shadows. Deploy, go, go, go. Yeah. It's just, again, this isn't a surprising news story, but it is about how fast they just pulled the plug on this. Because normally it'd be like, we're not seeing the traction. We're going to leave the game. People are making likening this to Anthem. You can still play Anthem. Anthem servers are somehow still up in the year of our baby Yoda 2024. So, like, that's not an apt description.
And also, Anthem didn't fail because people weren't interested in it. Anthem failed because EA stopped, like, they didn't put enough content in there.
They stopped caring
and then said
about
that they were going to, and then never did.
Yeah.
And BioWare has its problems too. Like, they were a studio going through changes. I'm still nervous as hell about the new Dragon Age game.
I am too, as someone who's going to buy it day one. Real worried about it, yeah.
In our defense, though, from what I understand, the trailers are not representative of the games.
I have seen gameplay.
That's what I've heard people say.
Yeah, I've seen gameplay afterwards of like, oh, that just looks like
a Dragon
Age game. Okay, why did you show this? Like, anyways, yeah.
My question is, do I buy that day one just to support BioWare and not be able to play it for another 7 years?
Mm-hmm.
That's why I buy Strange Scaffold games. It's like, I got 3 of them on my Xbox. Like, I haven't played yet because, like, I want to support the studio. It's like, do I want to support BioWare and potentially get a new Mass Effect, or do I want to let them burn that place to the ground and get Effect Mass in 6 years?
Right.
But then you also don't know what you're supporting at this point, and that's kind of the crapshoot too, because you may buy Dragon Age and it may be a complete dumpster fire. It may not work at all, but you just gave them money for that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, and there's no guarantee that after Dragon Age, no matter how well it does, there's no guarantee there's still going to be a BioWare to even make a Mass Effect game after Dragon Age.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, I don't know. What genuinely wild story. Another wild story here that's more positive at the very least. Hopoo Games is the developers of Risk of Rain 1 and 2. Sorry, the original developers of Risk of Rain 1 and 2. That studio as a whole is on hiatus, as the co-founders and a bunch of the team members are working at Valve now. And they said that they're sort of getting... A bunch of them are moving into... They're being absorbed by Valve.
AKA, we built a new studio... and we don't want to deal with Gearbox or 2K anymore.
Yeah, I think that's pretty... We're looking to... They said that they were working on an unannounced title that they refer to as a codename Snail, that they're not working on anymore. And the studio overall is kind of winding down operations for the time. Sounds like they're kind of leaving the door open for them to reform at some point in the future if... Let's be honest, if it inevitably doesn't work out with Valve, like 75% of Valve games don't seem to do, then it seems like they can just like, all right, back to Hopoo Games, and let's make our next thing.
Like, Valve would be the worst place to work if you had ADHD, I think.
Yeah.
Because it's literally, you can do whatever you want. If you want to roll your desk into this room, go ahead and do it. And I'll be rolling my desk into that room, into a new room every week, it feels
Hi, buddies.
like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, actually, correction. I would be the only person in the Left 4 Dead 3 room by myself.
That's right. Who wants to... Anyone want to help? I'm making a new zombie. Does anyone want... Okay, I'll play by myself. So, this is interesting. Also, a reminder that they sold the Risk of Rain IP to Gearbox in 2022, and Gearbox has already done a really bang-up job of completely breaking Risk of Rain 2 with the very first update and DLC they put out. If you plug in more than one controller into your PC while you're running Risk of Rain 2 when that patch came out, it just deletes your saves. Good job, guys. That's a real good one. You guys are killing it out there.
Hey! I've heard of this wonderful thing. It's called a QA department. Maybe get one and let them unionize.
Maybe we should try that. Yeah. Oh, they do want to unionize though. We are in America, so we can't do that. We'll just shoot them in the street. That seems like a better idea. Thanks, video game industry.
Kojima wanted to burn up your games every time you died, so
That's true.
Mean,
that's true.
He's just helping the future along.
Yeah, but Kojima is a genius, so therefore every nonsensical idea he has should be accepted as fact.
Kojima will burn down your console with a purpose.
That's right.
Unlike most games nowadays.
It's also very interesting seeing his posts on Twitter lately over the last couple of weeks of just like, I'm playtesting my brand new game for a lot of hours every single day.
But which game? Is it DS2? Is it whatever the Sony thing he's got going on?
It's a PS5 controller, so my assumption is Death Stranding 2. Sorry, DS2. You're right. But like, I love him just posting of like, it's the doldrums. I'm end-to-end testing this game. Boy, sort of wish I didn't make it so long at this point because I'm playing a lot of this.
Us 2 Kojima. Us 2 points at Metal Gear Solid 3, 4, 5, Death Stranding 1,
That's right.
and every other game he's worked on.
Yeah. He's also busy scanning every pretty lady in Hollywood. He's very busy.
So Skynet's just Kojima, right? Like can we all agree on that? Like Kojima is just like the human embodiment of Skynet. Like that's why he's scanning everybody.
Yeah. He has some big plan, apparently.
He's got an arc.
Yeah, that's right. We're only in the middle of it. And it was then that Kojima was scanning us into his hypercube.
That's why his studio's icon mascot is that astronaut with the skull.
That's right.
It's all for the art.
Judgment Day.
That's right. All right, that's all of our news stories for this week. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. If you'd like to visit us, you can do so at tvgp.tv. Everywhere to find and follow us is on the right-hand side of the page. Patreon.com/E1M1.
Ones and numbers.
Talked about all the cool stuff at the beginning of the episode. $5 a month is the recommended tier. Tell your rich friends to pay way more than that. Add however many zeros they're comfortable with, and then like one more.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
So I can work one job instead of two.
Yeah, and that way we can dust off all of these spreadsheets we have in our Google Drives with
hundreds of ideas.
Yep, future episode. You have no idea how many things.
I will become a full-time streamer if that happens, because I'll have all the time in the world to sit here and play video games and get super duper fat.
Exactly.
I don't think anyone would want to watch me play a video game. That would be just the most boring thing ever.
They don't want to watch me play one either, too. The amount of times I'd be like, oh, there's ball one down in pinball, time to exit and reload really quick.
You guys want to watch me grind for the next 60 hours while I get to this level stat that I've been wanting?
That's a different website. That's not Patreon.
That's right. We'll open that one up at some point. But remember, if you can't support us financially, please like, comment, subscribe on the YouTube videos. We release a video version of every podcast that goes on the public feed. You can see the trailers we're talking about, the gameplay we're talking about, stuff like that. Also, you can see us, I guess. We bring that up.
What? No, don't use that. That's a demotion, not a promotion.
That's the last bullet point on the list. Like, hey, you can see those guys or whatever. Don't forget to rate and review the show positively, not negative. This is negative. Keep it to yourself. Wherever you're listening to the show, if you can, that stuff genuinely really does help. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. We'll see you next week. Bye.
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 All right, Moon. What you got? Sorry.
Wait, why am I going first?
I'll start with you. Let's change it up.
Change your pace. Yeah,
I'm keeping us alive. It's been 3 hours and 2 minutes. Jesus Christ. Since we started this episode. Keeping us on our toes. Moon, you go first. Let's go.
Ripley's Wizard, The Glass Shatters, Frog Frenzy, Thanks Ripley, Pumpkin S Season, The Vomitorium, The Forgotten Child, Both and Neither, I Know I'm Cheap, Space and Western, Dry Sector, Where Is Your Marketing Team, and Kojima is Skynet.
All right, Nimp, what do you have?
I have Bluntedly Single-Minded, Frog Frenzy, For an Hour, like I did, Food Groups from the 80s and 90s, and Kojima's Space Arc.
I have Bluntly Single-Minded. Pinball is becoming Pinball FX. I'm getting better at nudging. S season has arrived. the Vomitorium, the Duchy of Robotnik, a Dry Sector, Ripley's Wizard, Space and Western, and Frog Frenzy. We're killing it. The titles this week, by the way.
Yeah. Kojima is Skynet. Kojima is Skynet. Kojima is Skynet.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that's fine. Anytime Kojima makes it into her titles, I'm happy.
Well, I have to.
Yeah. Plus,
I have to write the
SEO
last.
for whatever his next time thing. Yo.
Yeah, I need to write my last bullet point here for the Outcast. Olympic corruption. Forgot we talked about that. Kojima is Skynet. Is Skynet camel case? Is the N uppercase as well?
Let's find out.
Yeah, I don't think they ever print it. I think everyone only says it.
Well, you don't.
In the logo, it is all capitals. In the typed out version, it is single capital case, not camel case.
Interesting. Okay, good to know. Thank you. All right, Kojima is Skynet is our title. Let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
Starting in 3, 2, 1. This is That Video Game Podcast, episode 881 for September 9th, 2024. Kojima is Skynet.
August 29th, 2025. The world will end.
The annihilation line has to be the Lale Lule Low.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening and watching. We do greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much, everyone who's hanging out in chat today. Got a bunch of new peeps, returning peeps here. Nice to see you all again. Same time, same place next week. Hopefully see you then. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.